The Patriots.
Into the end zone.
Touchdown
for the Patriots. Score.
WBZ FM and HD Boston 98.5. The Sports Hub. A Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Bruins continue their road trip with another blowout loss late last night in Seattle, 5-1 to the Kraken. The Bees were down 2-0 in the first 5 minutes and never recovered. Oliver Bjorkstrand scored twice for the winners. Brad Marchand scored on a penalty shot for the Bruins goal in the second period, and his team has now allowed 13 goals in 2 games.
So we had some good looks. I think we can still continue to be better. We definitely passed some shots up and forced some plays in the middle. We got to clean it up defensively.
They'll visit Vancouver tomorrow night. As for the Celtics, they were without both Jason Tatum and Sam Hauser last night, but it didn't matter in a 123-99 win over Detroit at TD Garden. Peyton Pritchard made 7 3-point shots. He scored a game-high 27 points to go with 10 assists. Celtics are 20-5. They visit the Washington Wizards on Sunday night. The Patriots got Marcus Jones back at practice yesterday as they continue to get ready for a road game against Arizona on Sunday. Javon Baker remains in concussion protocol. He sat out again along with defensive lineman Jaquelin Roy and defensive back Jalen Hawkins. The team will practice again today. Bill Belichick was introduced as the new head football coach at North Carolina yesterday. It's a 5-year contract worth reported $50 million. The LA Rams beat San Francisco last night 12-6. And in that game, 49ers starting linebacker and 9-year NFL veteran Devondre Campbell's left the field in the third quarter, refused to play, and went back to the locker room. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lopresti and Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, the hair doctor of Hardy, Charlie McAvoy, and Brian Scalabrine. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR for your free consultation. I'm John Wallach at Boston Told for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app. The 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
Fred, hello. Hello. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Open him up with a football.
98.5 The Hub!
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch.
All right. Yeah.
Score!
Sweet nectar. Yeah! Tonight!
Chili.
Keep it.
So let's see what you got, homeboy.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios. You can call us 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube, and then you can subscribe, and you can watch our show live, Joe Murray Show live. Highlights of all the shows. If you subscribe, it's very good for our business, so please do so. And know that we are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Hardy's out today. He's got a wild day of taking his daughter to the dentist.
Ooh.
This is a show to live vicariously through, if nothing else. And Dan Roach is in today. Hello, Dan.
Hey, Fred.
And Dan and John, I think, what are the chances, Adam, because you don't even know what I'm about to talk about.
No.
That you would be in a studio with two other people, just two other people in the studio with you, and both of them were lamenting the end of a show. Would you care to guess what show is airing its last episode tonight that they are upset about?
Okay, it's John. It's
something happens about 10:52.
It's it's the ESPN baseball show.
Nope.
That they're ending. No, it's not that.
Bishaw.
Come on. No,
better than that, Adam.
No, it's a fictional television
Chicago
show.
Blue. One of those.
You're not.
propaganda
You have
shows.
one of the words right. It's Blue Bloods, the Tom Selleck vehicle.
Yes.
that airs on 10 o'clock at 10 o'clock on Friday nights that both these gentlemen are big fans of. And they showed something on, I guess, WBZ is the station I would imagine it airs on.
Picture Friday night, Fred, right? Games are going on. Celtics, Pistons. The post game's coming in. Missoula's talking. And now Tatum an hour later. We got that going on. There's college hockey games, college hoop games going on. Getting ready for the Pats and their big Sunday. We've got a lot of programming on WBZ. 10:52 rolls around. 8 minutes to go for the 11 o'clock news where I got a top of the A section hit on the Patriots and what's going on with them.
What's an A section? Is that like a smaller C section?
You break a newscast into sections. The A is the first section, the B is the second, the C is the third, and sports usually in the D section, and that's how it breaks down.
That's where I like my ladies to buy their bras.
Right. So at 52 after, everything stops. I get up in the newsroom and I yell, "Dinner with the Reagans!" Boom. Everyone turns their attention, focuses in on the TV, and there's the Reagans breaking bread, laughter, conversation, what's concerns going on at the Reagans. They have dinner. That's they're out to the show when they say goodbye, basically, each time.
I wonder why they're called the Reagans.
I don't know.
Oddly enough, very Republican, this family.
Oh, really?
Have you ever seen an episode of this show, Fred?
Come on.
No. It is like... It
starts with a conflict.
It's propaganda, like the prime example of like that style of television program. So,
it's heavy religion involved,
Yes.
very Republican,
Yes.
very straight-laced, very police-oriented. Yes.
This is what sports radio does. It just brings you down to the dark side of things. How about just enjoying a nice show? Donnie Wahlberg, big Celtics fan. I don't know if you knew that, Fred. But, yeah, you get that part of it, the element. Tom Brady's first wife, all that kind of fun
That's
stuff.
right, Bridget Moynihan.
Dan,
is
have you
in
ever
this.
watched
That's
The Wire?
Yeah.
Did you like that show?
Yeah.
Okay, because I like that show. Did you ever watch Homicide: Life on the Street?
Yeah.
I have not.
I like those cop shows.
I would like
Hill
to
Street
watch
Blues?
that. I've tried.
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
I've sat, and I would like to see Hill Street Blues, too. I've neither seen Homicide nor Hill Street Blues, but I hear people I respect like those shows.
I'm rewatching Homicide, like the whole thing right now. I'm like halfway through with my youngest. It's really good.
What's the comedian who's on that?
Belzer, right?
Yeah,
Belzer, Richard Belzer. He's a strange guy.
You know the story
he's
behind
dead.
that, Fred?
No.
Belz was on the Stern Show, like riffing on the news, and the producer, I think it was Tom Fontana, the producer of Homicide: Life on the Street, like they were ready to get the show on the air. They had cast every character except for Detective John Munch, who the studio wanted to be like a young, up and coming, like handsome, like Jason Priestley type. And Tom Fontana heard the bells on Stern and was like, "That's our Detective John Munch," and had to like sell
Priestley?
that. Yeah, had
That's
to like
Priestley.
sell that to the network and say, I know you wanted this kind of actor for this, but this is the guy who's supposed to play. And Belzer would literally do stand up as John Munch, like he would just improv. Like it's fantastic.
I wonder if was there an episode of Homicide where they investigated who burned down the homecoming day float? And then found out it was Jason Priestley's girlfriend,
Emily Valentine,
who was in the what scene? Emily Valentine, the woman who played Emily Valentine, is featured in a documentary, Adam, that you have seen many times.
Oh,
yeah, you know Emily Valentine, the woman who dated Brandon not once but twice. Even when she lived in San Francisco.
That's right. He went back to San Francisco to try and find himself and find her, but she was going away on a long trip to Europe, and he had to make a choice one way or another, stay with her. And because she was willing to stay with him, Fred. She was willing to stay with him, but he had to let her go to pursue her future.
Emily Valentine was in a documentary that should be very close to your heart. I was at the premiere of it, if that gives you any hint.
I'm stumped. I'm not going to be able to pull
American Hardcore.
Ah, right on.
She was a big Boston hardcore scene girl. She was like one of the two girls.
You forget
Al from SSD's wife.
Yep.
I believe was in the Philadelphia
Nancy
scene.
Brill. Yep.
Was a Philadelphia hardcore girl, but in the Boston hardcore scene, Emily Valentine, who's relatively attractive, not the greatest. But for a woman in the Boston hardcore scene, she must have stuck out.
You know what's her real name?
No.
Christine Elise.
Christine Elise, yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, she came back a third time to the show, Fred. After Kelly was involved in the fire, Emily Valentine was out in Beverly Hills, and Brandon took her out to dinner, and Kelly, feeling very vulnerable because she was involved in the fire, thought Brandon was stepping out on her. There's a scene where Emily Valentine shows up to the beach house and has a one-on-one with Kelly. Said, "You know what? I'm back, but he loves you." And Kelly was reassured, and Brandon, not knowing this, went to Kelly's house, and Kelly invited him in and says, "I forgive you," and everything's fine.
She's from Boston. Went to Boston Latin.
I think we just covered that.
Huh. She's a vegan.
I'm getting information from Be Real.
Yes.
Okay, one last question. I'm doing this. I'm very tired. You'll have to excuse me. But if I'm doing this exercise with Adam, she's very good friends with someone we both know. Be Real just told me. Be Real knows this information, so that's a hint. She's not Shred.
Okay, so
She probably knows Shred, but
then probably Juanita.
no. Juanita, I don't think is old enough.
Okay, so would it be Oedipus?
Bradley J.
Bradley J. Tremendous.
According to Be Real, who I believe, Emily Valentine is friends with Bradley J. If you haven't seen it, American Hardcore is a documentary, and I went to they had a screening of it at the Coolidge Corner, a premiere of it, when I was working at WBCN. I really like it, and I'm not even like the world's biggest hardcore fan.
Yeah, it's a great talk.
In fact, I'm not really a fan of hardcore music that much. But all of a sudden, it started to smell. It smelled real bad as I was sitting in my seats, and I turned around, and there was a man hunched in the aisle in a dirty suit, with dreadlocks, man by the name of HR.
Mm-hmm.
From the Bad Brains. He had not showered in many, 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 many days. And now he's performing Sublime.
Was it the next day he came into the studio? Because I know you had him on at BCN.
Okay, I'm going to do this. John and Dan. Google HR from the Bad Brains now. Put Google the words HR, the letters HR, then the words Bad Brains, and then put now. And then look at a picture. And I'm going to tell you the story.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So that man, in HR from the Bad Brains, is arguably, including to many, 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 many people, Dave Grohl and mainstream people like that, the best performer ever to front a band.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, you can see Bad Brains CBGBs. I believe it's like 82.
Yeah, it sounds around
It's
right.
on YouTube. He's insane. Like what stuff he can do is like nuts. That band is influential to the Beastie Boys on down. Like they huge influence to to Nirvana.
Yep.
Everyone was influenced by the Bad Brains. They're considered by the best of that genre.
Yeah, the best
far and
concert of
away.
the decade, Bad Brains, legendary CBGBs in New York City in 1984.
Okay, 84 was one of the days.
Thank you, Dan.
Yes, thank you. All right, so you see what he looks like. He's this like older African American gentleman. He's crazy, like he's legit crazy, and the band could never stay together because he was so crazy. He is playing with Sublime now though,
That's
and
wild.
Well, what does he know?
Good
He
for
sits
him.
down during
He
it.
gets paid. I don't care.
Yeah, and so it's like 6 o'clock at night, and all of a sudden he's walking through the halls of WBCN, which is in the basement of the building in Brighton, and I go, "Oh my God, that's HR! Come on in," because like I had booked him. How HR got in, he was by himself, is he was lingering around the building, and the guy from WZLX just let him on in.
Is that up top or in the back?
Up top.
Up top?
Yeah. And
Best of security days.
And HR doesn't talk like, "Hi, yeah, hey, I'm HR from the Bad Brains. Like, nice to meet you." He talks like,
Yeah, like he's visiting from another planet.
and the guy
just
let him in.
Come
Yeah,
on
the guy
in.
let him in.
Yeah.
And the guy let him in.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he did. I got my picture taken, and we had him on the air.
I remember I was at home because I was doing midday, so I was home by then. I was listening and like heard you say it was coming up, and drove back to the radio station to try to meet him. And I unfortunately with traffic didn't make it in time. But I think we went over to Hogan's afterwards.
What was his?
That's a surprise.
What was his
Shocking.
best? Like his vocals or his? instruments?
He's Rastafarian. They incorporated reggae with hardcore music, but his performance, like they'd end a song and he'd do a backflip and like land on his feet right when it ended. Like he was like insane.
Wow.
And this is in a room with like a couple hundred people. Like it's like, small club.
Yeah. And it's one of those things.
Like when I used to see the Stompers at Syracuse.
Absolutely.
Same thing.
Never tell it.
It's like one of those things like when the first Sex Pistols show, there was like 30 people there, but it was like The Clash and Susie and the Banshees. Like there's some shows that weren't huge shows, but the people that were there all became something. And that was the Bad Brains at CBGB's. That wasn't their first show, but that wonderful. Chris, go ahead.
Hey, I just want to let the young man know that he's doing well, and actually his takes are on the radio are fantastic. And basically, that's it. Take care.
What a kind thing to say, Dan. He's talking about you.
Oh, he said young man. I was like, who?
Yeah, he's talking about you.
Wow.
He likes what you have to say.
Thank you.
Well,
it's an honor to be here.
What a day to have Dan here. We had Bill Belichick get introduced to the North Carolina people, and that media is rough.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they
were all over him.
They really put him through the ringer.
Yeah.
And we have that, and also it's good that Dan's here. We're not going to do it in what happened last night, but Dan's here to talk about the move the Red Sox made when we get to it.
Yeah.
Also,
I feel bad for Hardy, too.
Because he's not here. Oh, because his daughter going to the dentist?
Yes, I had my first root canal last Thursday.
Ooh,
holy hell.
That sucks.
Yeah. It was bad?
Oh. It's the most barbaric thing I've ever had done.
Really? Those never really bothered me.
They pry your mouth open,
yeah,
you drooling
that
everywhere.
Rubber thing in it.
I've had one of those.
Did you ask for any drugs?
Yeah, Novocaine. The first shot.
No, that's not a drug. Did you ask for any drugs?
No. Next time, Fred, if I seriously would say, just please knock me out for 2 hours. I don't care what happens. Just knock me out.
Or at least give you nitrous.
Oh.
Like I don't understand why they're so tight with the nitrous here.
I'd take anything. It was awful.
I told you my mother used to do PR for this periodontist to the stars. He did Aretha Franklin and Kid Rock and stuff. Dr. Joseph Nemeth, and he specialized in people that were afraid of the dentist. So if you went even to get your teeth cleaned, I didn't get to do this, but if you went to him to get your teeth cleaned, now he was expensive. He had old school virtual reality glasses. He would give you a Valium drip. He would just basically put you into a state of bliss,
right?
And then work around that.
I'd like to go to Disney World, please. Boom.
And then
virtual reality.
Because when my ex-wife when we first moved here, she had to get her wisdom teeth pulled, and they didn't even give her any anesthesia. They just gave her Novocaine. I'm like, what's the hesitancy? They give you something. I had a dentist in Atlanta that during teeth cleanings they would just go, "You want nitrous?" And it's like, "Oh no." Yeah, of course.
And teeth cleaning is fine. I've had that every 6 months.
No, teeth cleanings aren't bad at all.
No.
But they would go, "Do you want nitrous?"
Really?
And of course, yeah, I want nitrous. It's not.
I would have taken anything. But then the guy was nice afterwards. He's like, "So what do you think of the Pats?" And I'm like, "Well, they should be good." It's like, my whole mouth is like gone completely numb and trying to talk.
Hey, what do you think of the Pats? I don't know, stupid. What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm
not feeling really good here. Maybe you just let me leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you just send me on my way with some drugs.
Or why don't you learn how to make better conversation?
Yeah.
All right. We will.
So we have Belichick, the Bruins and Celtics both played last night, and if we get to it, Fred, I don't know if we will. Interesting little thing happened on Thursday Night Football last night.
Oh yeah, I know about that. All right, very good. Yes, very much a little controversy involving a player last night. We'll have all of that for you in just a moment.
describes himself in 7 words.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Dutcher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
Did you catch the game last night?
Hey, we're Dutcher and Hardy. Danny Roach is in today, so we always love having Danny in.
Thanks, Fred. It's an honor to be here.
No, we do. We always love having you.
And I like being here.
I know you do. You're always very kind about coming in.
Very energetic. Very energetic.
In the last time I was in here, I'm like, Dan's is always my first choice, and I believe I got guff for that. Like, well, then who don't you like? It's probably Wallach trying to cause problems.
Yeah, you guys. I've noticed that. You need a break, the two of you. Yeah.
You
Why?
think?
I don't know. You get a little, like, a married couple type of snipping at each other,
Oh, me trying to be funny
with some of
yesterday?
his takes,
my bad.
Come
Trying,
on.
my bad trying to be funny.
I walked around all day like, what's wrong with John and Fred?
Yeah, why is Fred such an ass to you?
Hey,
I have to
Pam
answer
was
that
like,
question a lot.
right.
I figured poking fun at him for not remembering that I talked about the crochet trade the day before was, you're right, it was a little out of bounds.
Yeah. If I came home and Pam's like, you okay? And I'm like, I'm working with John and Fred tomorrow, and I'm afraid there's going to be tension when I walk in.
Yeah, you could tell that there was a lot between us.
Yeah.
All right, but John, you have the reins.
Yes.
And we're starting with we're having Burt Breer in all next hour, so let's start with this.
All right, let's start with Bill Belichick.
Absolutely.
So he was introduced to the media yesterday as the new head coach at the University of North Carolina. It is a reported 5-year contract for Bill worth a reported $10 million a season. There are also apparently bonuses in his deal tied to national rankings, wins, conference championships, and college football playoff games. He's been given a $10 million budget for a staff, and the school's NIL spending has jumped from $4 million to $20 million. So he sat down in front of the media. He spent yesterday setting the record straight about his apparent 400-page manifesto to the school about how he wanted to run the program.
There were reports that you had prepared a document or organizational Bible. Were those accurate? I reserve a follow-up if the answer is...
Yeah, I mean, don't believe everything you read in the papers, all right? I have no idea where that came from. I don't have a 400-page document. I mean, and to think I would just go and hand it, I mean, come on, really.
That's right. It was so far and above and beyond how we could possibly think that he would do that to somebody.
No, it was 399 pages.
I know.
And I like those hillbillies, like, laughing at everything. God, Jesus Christ.
Well, that's enough. Bill's smart. He's never going to get challenged now. He doesn't have to worry about, like, firing off people left and right and holding angry press conferences. He's going to have a smile on his face because everyone's going to kiss his ass for 5 years.
And there's this reign of it can't just be the facts. Like Wickersham wrote the article, and it's nice and slanted Belichick's way. Obviously with quotes from Lombardi, like this was his FU to the NFL. But even Wickersham, in a very nice Belichick-leaning article, says he wasn't the top 3 candidate for any team last year. That means he knew no one has reached out. No pro teams reached out to him so far. He knew he probably wasn't going to get an NFL job. There is still this chorus of he took this job to entice the NFL. No, this. Go ahead.
No, that's the next question. The question is,
I heard his answer, but go ahead.
Now that he's got the job, how long is he going to be at North Carolina? There's been wild speculation that he took the job to make sure that Steve Belichick got a head coaching job, or that to entice the NFL to come out.
And just quickly to add to that, there's a $10 million buyout basically before June 1st of next year, and then after that, it's a $1 million buyout. So, Joe, who I love, Joe Murray but I think he was having fun, was like, a team would just come in and buy him out for $10 million, or he'd buy himself out. Yeah. Bill Belichick's going to just give them $10 million so he could go make...
No, Bill Belichick would wait until June 2nd, 2025.
Yeah, I think that he could wait a year.
Have the job done.
But go ahead, play.
So this is the answer to that question.
What do you say to people that fear that if you do succeed here, that you might leave for the NFL again in a year or two?
Yeah, I didn't come here to leave.
Hey! Yay,
What's
Bill,
going-
you're awesome. Yay.
That's the press?
Yeah, it was Bubba the AD who started it, right? The next one.
Oh, I know. And then his name's Bubba.
I know.
And North Carolina is a good school, and it's scary that his name is
Bill.
Bubba.
I thought that same thing. I'm like, Carolina Blue, Chapel Hill. It's awesome.
It's like a
beautiful
really good
place.
school.
Yeah, it's one
Yeah,
of the top
like-
in the country, and there's Bubba.
And there's Bubba in the background because he has to be Bubba because he's in the quote unquote South.
Right.
North Carolina very much on the edge of
It's
that.
the same thing. Why is this guy's name Bubba? Could you just change it for the press conference, Jim? Or
Exactly.
whatever your real name is.
Exactly. And so, the notion is like, well, he'll get this and he'll do well and he'll leave. No. He's gonna be older.
Bill, you're
and
75.
further-
Could you sit down and come into this interview, right? Turn our program around
yeah.
in the NFL?
He's going to be older and further removed from the NFL, and they didn't want him 2 years. It will have been 2 off seasons from next one. There's no way he's. What is the deal with people? He might be able to get a defensive coordinating job. Dan, I'm interested in your opinion of this, though, is that Steve Belichick is the coach in waiting. I think I know why Bill is doing all this. I would imagine it's because he wasn't around much when they were growing up. And now he's like kind of making up for that. Not because he was an absentee or a bad dad, but because he was coaching an NFL team and probably wasn't around. I'd imagine that he wants to be with them as much as possible. My question is this. If you're Steve Belichick, you're the defensive coordinator at Washington, a very, very good program, a program that you could go get like a head coaching job. I use the example of like Troy. You could get like a head coaching job at Troy from there. You succeed there for even a couple years. Look at the guy at Indiana. You succeed there for a couple years. Then you can get like a lower tier Big Ten.
It's like Bob Chesney, right?
SEC
The Holy Cross coach who went down to James Madison, and they beat up Carolina last year, scored 70 points. He's just climbing that ladder.
Exactly.
Right? That's
So
what you want
like
to do.
Steve Belichick, if he wanted to be a college head coach, was on that path. What is your opinion on just following your dad and taking the job after them based in literally entirely on nepotism?
Here's what I would have done, right? If this was me and I saw that somewhere or heard that somewhere, I would call my dad and say, Dad, what are you doing? Like, if this is true, no thank you. Like, I'm going to make my own path. I'm going to carve my own path to the NFL. Now, yes, you gave me a start in coaching. It was a tremendous time. The same with Brian right now, who's down in Foxborough.
We'll get to him in a second.
Thank you very much. But you know what? I'm good. I'll create my own path and prove myself to everybody else in the country that I can be a great head coach one day.
And I'm with you because it was the same thing with Bronny James. Because I think this is what a good father would do. If I had a kid that was like a really good high school basketball player, but not like a super elite one, I would help him get into a college. But then I would say, now I'm taking the hands off the wheel. I put you what I think is in a good amateur position with someone who can hook you up. You're on your own.
Can I tell you what I did just kind of relate to my family?
Yeah.
My oldest son, as you know, Harry. You guys know Harry. Started out on the baseball path. Played at Phillips Academy, worked for the Villanova baseball team, and then went out in the minors and started to take video scouting jobs, all the hard, grungy, by yourself jobs. But the only thing I ever did, because people say, oh, you're in baseball, you must have got him a job. No, I would say, Harry, what teams have you, sent your resume to? Things like that. And he would tell me, and I would, if I knew somebody, I would say, hey, I'd call John Wallach, and say, hey, John, just a heads up, I don't know, my son is interviewing for jobs. If you could just kind of put a good word in for him or what have you. And then the rest is up to him. It was up to him to get the job.
I
right?
agree. And if I was Bill Belichick, to be honest with you, this is what I would have done. If my kids wanted to get it in coaching, I would give them a job on the staff, like a low-level job on the staff. Because Shanahan, there's great coaches that have had that happen.
Every parent can relate to that, right?
Right. But a low-level job on my staff, and then
work your way up.
Then I would say work your way up and then leave.
Yes.
Then you got to leave.
Make your own path.
Because Bert will come in here and he'll tell me about all these other coaches, and I'll go, yeah, but they weren't set up the same way that Bill is. All right, so you said Brian.
Yes, I said Brian Belichick, who is the safeties coach for the Patriots, and yesterday happened to be the day that the assistant coaches, just a coincidence, the assistant coach is supposed to meet the media. Dan Roach was down there standing right next to Brian Belichick, and they asked him
about his 24-year-old girlfriend that without makeup.
That didn't come up. They asked him about possibly joining Bill's staff at North Carolina.
Do you guys understand how exciting this trip is out to Arizona? Just
hear me?
Big week for us. gotta go out there, get back on track. So
Trey McBride, all that, right? Big week for the safeties.
Kyler's big problem. So we got a lot to deal with. Trey McBride, good receivers, good backs, good offensive line. We got our hands full, so lots of work on.
He wanted nothing to do with the question, wouldn't answer it.
No, John, don't twist it.
Okay.
He came in trying to be like his dad. He just said, here's what we're focused on. It's on to Arizona. And he knew what the question was coming.
Well,
he was just having a little bit of fun with his dry sense of humor. Come on.
I don't even think that was dry. I think that was actually kind of funny.
Yeah, so did I.
You seemed
you hear me laughing in the background?
Yeah, but that's not hard, Dan. You were there to deflate, if nothing else. That is your job as what you do. You were there to ask the
I asked
special
him the
interest
tough question. No, I went right at him.
And so he just didn't say anything about.
What'd you think of your dad getting the job at Carolina?
Now, who do we have in? Phil Perry, and I think Phil said off the air he wasn't sure that Brian would go, because Brian, I guess, Brian, I think he said likes it here.
Yes, he's had some medical issues. He's had a lot of things go on.
Okay, so that's
you know what I mean.
He mentioned something,
family and medical issues, so maybe he would stay here.
Right. Yeah, and so I guess he likes Boston.
Yeah,
everyone seems to like Brian.
He seems like a really genuinely good kid. Off camera too.
I know someone. This is so stupid, but I know someone who has worked for those two, Steve and Brian, and is fond of both of them and their wives. Nothing good to say, nothing bad to say. Now, Bill, the more that I hear about him behind the scenes, Dick. Did you hear what Patricia just? I'm not going to say it on the air. Did you hear what Patricia just did to one of your compatriots? He's not a good guy, Danny.
Good coach.
Patricia?
No, Bill.
No. But what Patricia just did to one of your
I always
brethren.
get along fine with Matty. He's a Syracuse guy.
He's not a good guy.
No one is, Fred. Not anymore. Everyone let me down.
No, Patricia's an a-hole. You know what I'm talking about, Johnny.
Yes, I was here when you had that conversation yesterday. Yes,
and it wasn't to Phil.
It was not to Phil.
It wasn't.
No. That's important to bring up because
it has nothing. It has nothing to do with Phil.
Not
Perry.
talking about Phil. No.
Yeah. Patricia's a dick. And I pray that he would do what he did to that guy to me, because I would have the greatest story in the history of the world the next day on the air. Either I would have gotten my ass kicked by Madam Patricia, or I would have gone to jail.
You ever fought anybody over stuff you said?
The only person who's ever
I've
never been threatened. I've been threatened to be killed by the audience.
The usual stuff, yeah.
But the only athlete, ironically, because I am really friendly with them, that really got mad at me one time was Lucic.
Really,
he got mad at me at a Cuts for a Cause, but he wasn't mad about anything I said, personally about him or anything like that, which would have bothered me because I would have felt bad. He was mad about speculating that he was going to be traded, and I'm like, well, you are,
right.
I'm like, you're gonna you are I don't know what I'm like why are you pissed about this? He wasn't in my face. He was
aggravated.
I think that he was feeling vulnerable about what was about to happen and didn't like it and was expressing his frustration with that.
I can totally see that. A lot of times an athlete will get mad at you, but they know what's going on and they're mad at themselves.
And Dan, I will say this. It wasn't like he was being a jerk.
Yep.
He was just pissed. And he wasn't what the F is wrong with you? He's like, I guess maybe I'll just, when I'm gone, you'll see all this stuff. And I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm like, Milan, this is all what people are talking about. This is my job, dude. I'm not even speculating. I'm just saying stuff. I'm aware of when I'm doing something and when I'm not. Milan, and I didn't feel like he wasn't threatening or even really a dick, but he was upset. And I didn't feel guilty about anything that I said. And then ultimately, we're great. So it's fine. Go ahead.
I'm wondering, since you brought this up, and Dan being the nice guy that he is, you were talking about when an athlete gets upset at you. What athlete has ever gotten, or coach has ever gotten upset at you?
Oh, people have.
Oh, yeah.
Who has gotten upset at you?
I mean, off the top of my head, I don't know. Shane Victorino was just screaming at me, swearing at me up
For
and down
what?
one day. I was in the Red Sox clubhouse after the time the media was supposed to leave.
Oh, okay.
I was in Farrell's office just talking to him, and I walked out. And as I was walking out, somebody screaming at the top of their lungs at me in the clubhouse. I didn't even look. I just kept walking.
Okay.
And I get done, and Farrell came out afterwards, and he's like, "Who was yelling at you?" I'm like, "They were yelling at me?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "MF and all that kind of stuff." And I was like, "I don't know."
Victorino was a wild card, as I understand it.
A little bit.
Yeah, he was a little crazy. Yeah.
In terms of like not
Great player,
leaving,
but a little bit,
in terms of not leaving the locker room or whatever, the first time I was ever in the Bruins locker room, they used to have this big B, and I was standing on the B, and a bunch of the media were like, "Dude, you got to get off that, like, get off the B, get off the B," and I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "You're not allowed to stand on it." And it was huge.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the whole locker room, and I'm like, ah. And the team comes in, and they go to Thornton. They're like, "Hey, he was standing on the B," and Thornton goes, "Who gives an F?" Which is what I figured.
Yeah.
Probably the sentiment was, "Don't stand on the B." All right, there, Johnny High School. I won't stand on the B. It's so disrespectful. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
clock sounds like this, this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
Is this Alice Cooper?
Yeah, look at your calendar.
Oh,
It's Friday the 13th, Freddie.
Oh, it is.
All right, we're Toucher and Hardy. Read his biography. You'll be disappointed.
Yeah, I'm going to skip that one.
It should be great. He was in that vampire club with John Lennon and Harry Nilsson, Mickey Dolenz, and they just went around and got wasted. It was when John Lennon blew out Harry Nilsson's voice in the studio by having him yelling like pieces of his throat were getting on the mic. Like what were they called? The vampires something. And the guy should have like the greatest stories ever. He hung out with Salvador Dali.
Yeah.
And, like he used to go over to Groucho Marx's house and just like lay in bed with him and watch TV when Groucho was lonely.
Yeah, Groucho loved Alice Cooper. They had an interesting little friendship. But you had said that you had read it, and it's a combination of he doesn't tell the greatest stories, and the stories he tells, he doesn't tell them well.
Right. The best one that if you want to see it is the Shep Gordon documentary, which is fantastic. It's his agent, and it's called Supermensch. And it's the Shep Gorman. Everyone watch it. I think you would enjoy it. And he was the
Who did he play for?
He is a manager of rock acts. He is co-founder of that Cabo Wabo Tequila, so he's got a few bucks, few shekels. But he managed when he was like 21 years old. He got the manager job for Alice Cooper, and Alice Cooper was not famous, and it was Alice Cooper the group. You want to hear one very quick story?
No.
Okay. Be listening at 6:50 for your chance, or at the end of this break, for your chance to score a 4-pack of ice skating passes with Skate Rental for Boston's Winterfest, the city's largest and most immersive winter wonderland at Hood Park in Charlestown. Enjoy light displays and ice skating rink, live entertainment, festive foods, local vendors, social media moments, and more. Go to winterfestboston.com to learn more. Here's the story. Alice Cooper, the band, they're in Los Angeles. He goes, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put you in these see-through jumpsuits. They're jumpsuits that are see-through, and you're going to be naked underneath them. And you're going to come out, and you're going to start playing, and you're going to get arrested. You're going to get arrested for indecent exposure. You need this kind of publicity. You guys are a crazy band. Here we go. So it's a summer night in Los Angeles. They put on these naked suits. They sit around backstage. They get on stage. And because of the heat and the moisture, it all fogs up so that you can't see any of their genitalia. And he's like, I literally couldn't get him arrested. All right, go ahead.
All right, Bruins and Celtics both played last night, Fred. Let's start with the Bruins. They had the late game last night in Seattle.
Yeah, I was up for 2 periods of it.
Oh, my God. This was the second stop of a 5-game road trip for Joe Sacco's team. You will remember in Game 1 of this trip, Fred, in Winnipeg, the Bruins fell behind 2-0 after 1 period. They allowed 5 third-period goals and got embarrassed. You'll never guess what happened last night.
Bruins penalty killers start out from their own zone. Elias Lindholm, Charlie Coyle up front on this unit as the Kraken control the face-off. It's Beniers along the far side circle. Just shoots and scores. Bjorkstrand looked like he tipped it in front. And the Kraken right to a 1-0 lead.
I went to bed listening to the game, and it was just like, whoa.
One after another.
2 goals in, it was done.
Oliver Bjorkstrand scored twice in this game. The Kraken scored 3 third-period goals, and the Bruins got blown out again 5-1. Brad Marchand, the only goal of the night for the Bruins on a penalty shot. But even with Jonas Korpisalo in net this time, the Bruins still got run over late. And unlike the game in Winnipeg to start the road trip, though, Joe Sacco liked some of what he saw last night.
After the first 6 minutes of the game where we were shorthanded, I thought that our 5-on-5 game started to come around. And we generated. We had some opportunities. We had some looks. It just didn't go in the back of the net for us tonight.
The problems last night penalties early. David Pastrnak picked up a double minor 16 seconds into the game. The Kraken were off to the races. The Bruins 0-2 on this trip.
He's got to get it together.
They visit Vancouver Saturday night.
Yeah, he's got to get it together. He's a problem, Pastrnak, right now. And not a problem in that he's not good. Problem that he's not good enough. Wouldn't you agree? I mean,
it took a double minor 16 seconds in last night.
He's got to get it together
that.
a little bit.
I think if I'm David Pastrnak and I'm really not getting any help from anybody, I think Pasternak's way outside his comfort zone. I think he's trying to do far too much.
Well, that's what
on both ends of the ice.
That's what the consensus is that he's trying to do too much. But look, he's a superstar. He's he's one of these elite players, like top 10 players in the NHL.
Yeah,
he's got to perform like that. That he's not this year, and if he doesn't, they're gonna knock around and be on the they're gonna have games that matter at the end of the season to get into the playoffs, and you don't necessarily want that.
It was a great start under Joe Sacco, but these last two games looked very, very Montgomery-like. They were
and that's the thing, John. Montgomery's a good coach.
Yeah,
right. Like it wasn't like Sacco was going to come in and listen. They had a. They were
7-2.
They were 7-2, and that's because. But I don't think that's so much Sacco's better than Montgomery. It's just the message was sent that you lost a coach, and I think a coach they liked.
Yeah.
So, that happens, and then but now it's all going to even itself out because Montgomery obviously is. There's no scheme or game plan that's going in that's going to drastically change the way that they play over Montgomery, right? It is what it is. It's more of an effort thing. I think we would all agree.
Well, and I think what kind of you watch from afar. It's almost like to me, when a general manager falls in love with a player, right, from another team for years and years and years, wants to get that guy. It seems to happen. It looked to me like that was Lindholm to Don Sweeney. Like you always heard rumors about him. You always heard him talking about Elias Lindholm, and then all of a sudden he comes here and he's not the player that you wanted him to be.
All you had to do was look at last season to see that, though.
Right, but I'm just saying it seems like he's been in love with him for a long time, and now watching him up close every game,
he's not good.
That's not what they need from a number one line center. It's just they need so much more than what they're getting from that position.
Stuck with him forever.
And he does nothing offensively. He's not doing anything. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that he was that obsessed with him, but that's interesting. It makes sense. All right, Jonathan, and there was another game, but not so much to talk about with this next one, but go ahead.
No, the Celtics played. They came back from a 5-day break to face Detroit at TD Garden last night. Jason Tatum didn't play. He's got a sore right knee. Joe Mazzulla said before the game that wasn't serious. Sam Hauser missed a game with an adductor strain, and really none of that mattered.
Out of the logo, behind the Pritchard screen. Cunningham reaches out, punches the ball away. Jay lands it back, cross-court Pritchard. Deep three, got another one.
If you're not ready to challenge, it's going to punish you.
4 more threes, 93 on the season.
Peyton Pritchard, a game-high 27 points. He hit 7 threes in this game. The Celtics ran Detroit out of the building 123-99. In most NBA games, you have one team take a lead, and regardless of how big that lead is, the team that's behind makes a run. There was no run last night. Celtics led by 15 at halftime, 25 after 3. They led by 32 in the fourth quarter before Mazzulla called off the Dogs. Detroit had no chance. We've talked about Detroit before, Fred. They're relatively decent, 10-16, which is better than what they have been. And Cade Cunningham is a surefire number one. They have some good pieces, but last night they had no chance. Celtics were well rested.
Yeah, they had been unfortunately in a situation where they had high picks in drafts that weren't so good. You know what I'm saying? Except for Cade Cunningham's draft. And I thought Ivy would be much better than he's been. But hopefully, for everyone's sake in Detroit, they can get a little bit better.
Shows you, too, 6 games in 9 nights for the Celtics?
5 and 7, before they crash-landed in their last game, but they had 5 days off before this one.
And I think I know something about John that you don't yet, Fred. Does Fred know?
What?
Oh,
no, I didn't tell him.
How about this, Fred? Listen to what John's going to do now. Where he's going? He's going away on vacation, right? For Christmas for the first time and not Philly.
Yeah,
right.
He's going to the Dominican Republic. Yeah.
Yes.
Right, but before that...
I have a game to call, Fred. Just found out I will be in Orlando on the 23rd to call the Celtics Orlando Magic.
What would you have done if you were going to be on vacation with your family on the 23rd?
Well, originally, you remember, and I don't know, we haven't said this on the air. Originally, I was going to go to Europe, and that, due to unforeseen circumstances, I had to cancel that trip and rebook and go to the Dominican. And at that point, this game was not a reality. If I was going to be gone, I was going to be gone. I was going to miss it.
Oh,
I don't know what they would have done.
Well, good for you. I'm glad.
So,
you know what you should do at the end?
What's that?
Cry.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Okay.
If I was you, I would cry, and
Thank you.
and make it all about yourself at the end.
I love you, and I think you know that.
Just go, I don't know if I'll be able to call another game this year. This is very emotional.
The way things are, this very well may be my one.
So the final
maybe I should
time,
do that.
have a good season, everybody.
I got one last season. This may be my one this season.
Thank you.
Celtics Orlando, the 23rd.
Oh, John, and then you go into. I would stay down there, right?
Yeah, I know I can't.
Go to the parks,
unfortunately.
right? Have a good time the next day, and then join your family. And
Just to go from there to the Dominican.
How
that
great
makes
would that
a lot
be?
of sense. Yeah.
Oh, because it's Christmas. Everything's decorated nice. It's like go to the different parks. They go to at night. They have the cookies and the hot chocolate, even though it's 85 degrees. It's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds that way. All right, very
what?
good. Huh?
Nothing.
We had a football game last night with an interesting little sideline, and Bert Breer is going to be here so we can talk.
And I have an interesting stat about that game.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm bringing it today, Fred.
See, look
John,
at this. Look at this
It's
guy.
a great day. Wait till the 8 o'clock hour. Yeah, you said I'm bringing it this hour. I'm bringing it in the 8 o'clock hour.
It was a real barn burner last night. I'm sad I missed it. It sounds like it was a real good game.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Oh, wait, hang on. Yeah, thanks. Adam.
First this.
Caller number 10 in the contest line, 617-931-0985, will score a 4-pack of ice skating passes with skate rental for Boston's Winterfest, the city's largest and most immersive winter wonderland, at Hood Park in Charlestown. Enjoy light displays, an ice skating rink, live entertainment, festive foods, local vendors, social media moments, and more. Go to winterfestboston.com to learn more.
You're listening to Toucher It.
Had the home game and the win, 123-99 over Detroit at TD Garden. The Celtics got ahead and stayed ahead in this one on a night where they didn't have Jason Tatum. Peyton Pritchard scored a game-high 27 points for Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah, I mean, he just loves to compete. So at the end of the day, I enjoy it. Teammates enjoy it. It's fun just watching him compete at a high level. He doesn't really play to a scoreboard. He just plays to compete. And that's a beautiful gift that he has.
Derek White added 23 points as the Celtics push their record to 20-5. They visit the Washington Wizards Sunday night. The Bruins were in Seattle. They allowed three third-period goals and lost 5-1 to the Kraken. Brad Marchand scored the only goal for the Bruins in the second period on a penalty shot. The team is now 0-2 on a 5-game road trip while being outscored 13-2. They visit Vancouver tomorrow night. As for the Patriots, they were without wideout Javon Baker, defensive lineman Jaquelin Roy, and safety Jalen Hawkins at practice yesterday as they worked their way towards a road game in Arizona on Sunday. Marcus Jones returned to the field in a limited capacity. The LA Rams beat the San Francisco 49ers last night 12-6. 49ers starting linebacker Devondre Campbell refused to enter the game in the third quarter after getting benched at halftime, and he left the field. And Bill Belichick was introduced as the new head football coach at North Carolina yesterday. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by 128 Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric, the company that finishes every job strong. If your home or business has a plumbing, HVAC, electrical, or drain issue that can't wait, you need to call 128 now at 888-CALL-128. I'm John Wallach at Boston Toll for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
It's called rising and grinding.
Start your
Got
day.
your finger on the pulse, Fred.
Begin your
Seldom
day.
right and never wrong.
Right here. Is that Dutcher or is that Hardy?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Here you go, Danny. And I would imagine, is this from CBGB's?
No, this is just from the.
Oh, no, this is from the Raw sessions. Yeah, because this is the one on the album that I have. This is called Pay to Come by the Bad Brains. Who we were talking about HR coming into the studio. All right, there you go. We are Toucher and Hardy. Dan is here. He requested that we play all 80s hardcore music from bands from Maryland. And so
They're Christmas music if you have it.
I've got some queued up just for you.
We have some Christmas music. Adam's telling us that it's going to be a full-on ska Christmas.
Yes, we're going to have Skanksmas on Thursday, which is Fred's last day before the holiday break. So an all ska show. Skanksmas. People were very disappointed we didn't have Skanksgiving this year.
Yeah,
So
I was never
Skanksmas.
the world's biggest Thanksgiving fan.
Nor was
I am, but there is a inordinate amount of Christmas ska songs. There really is.
Yes,
I mean, 330 has a full album.
I'll play something later on this morning too.
Great.
Well, that's good. Well, you could play Fishbone, that Good Life song.
Yeah, I got that one. Don't you worry.
Bert Breer, by the way, is the senior NFL reporter and lead content strategist for the MMQB. Getting Down to Business with Bert Breer is presented by Bentley University, where good business begins and leaders come to learn. What a treat. Unfortunately, it's holiday book when it happens, but Bill Belichick is now officially at University of North Carolina.
Yep.
I'm sure you're involved in college football for a similar sized program with Ohio State. So what is your opinion? What are you hearing? Why did this happen?
Well, I think it does go back to last year and the lack of interest from the 6 teams that had openings other than the Patriots, because obviously he's not going to get the job back here. And like the fact that he only got one interview, I think the way that it went down in Atlanta and why he didn't get that job because of the sort of bureaucracy that existed inside that organization, which with Rich McKay and the existing front office. And then I think getting the 30,000-foot view of the NFL over the last 11 months and getting to look at it from a different perspective and seeing how many bleep shows there are out there among the 32 NFL teams And then the Jets job comes open, and the Saints job comes open, and the Bears job comes open. And I think the realization came to him like, maybe somebody will offer me a job, but it probably won't be on my terms, and it'll probably be a situation I won't like. So do I roll the dice and sit here and pass on a college job, right, when I know I want to coach, and gamble that somehow the right situation is going to manifest in the middle of January? Or do I just go coach?
Do you think that he would have been offered a job?
It's iffy. I mean, I think part of it maybe rides on, what happens with Dallas down the stretch, what happens with Philly down the stretch. Like, and that's the problem is, like, if you're him and you really just want to coach next year, like, what can you count on?
Well, because here's what we know: he wouldn't get the Jets job. He wouldn't get the Jacksonville job. How do we know he wouldn't?
How do we know that?
Because his personal fluffer, Peg, Mike Lombardi, is.
No, I think Jacksonville would have been.
No. Well, you talk to people, but Lombardi was going after Shad Khan's kid.
Yeah.
Which tells, and Lombardi.
So maybe Lombardi wouldn't have gone with him, but I think that.
No. I think if he is marching orders.
I will say this: Bill has a pretty good relationship with Shad's kid.
Okay.
So I think they would be able to overlook that. I know Shad's kid pretty well. I don't think he would.
AWA fan.
I don't think he would hold it. I don't think he would hold it against Bill because he and Bill have had a really good relationship for over a decade.
Okay, so you talk to people around the league. I know you talk to a lot of coaches. Do you talk to owners?
Yeah.
Okay. There's not a belief that there's not concern over him without Brady and his age.
No, of course there is. Yeah, and I think that that's a part of it too. Is I think it's sort of similar to Brady and Rodgers when they came available, right? Nobody's denying their greatness, but you have to do a lot of things, and you have to be a lot of things to want a guy like that, right? So you have to have a team that's ready to win right now. You have to be in a location the other person wants geographically. You have to be set up to take somebody like that on. You have to be willing to sort of blow up your operation.
How do you think Atlanta would have been? They're 6-7 now. How do you think they would have been with Bill?
I mean, I think they would have approached their offseason differently. I think they would have been very aggressive in sort of building the team up in different ways. And I think that they would have gone into total win now mode, the same way that the Bucks did when they got Brady. So I think it would have looked different.
They wouldn't have drafted Penix, would they? They would have gotten someone who could help them on defense immediately instead of Penix, right?
Yeah, I mean, and then there's the question about Cousins, because Cousins.
By the way, that Penix pick doesn't look so bad now.
No, it doesn't. But he was talking about Atlanta being aggressive.
No. But okay, well, I'll.
No, but Cousins. Part of the reason Cousins went to Atlanta was because of Raheem, because he and Raheem were together in Washington. So.
And also, I'll say this is that okay, so you go all. Atlanta's not Tampa. You go all in on Atlanta. Maybe you win that division because it's not the greatest division.
Yeah.
But you're not winning a Super Bowl. So with that team, I mean that team can't compete with the top tier.
They're not
NFC
nearly
teams.
as good as Philadelphia or Detroit. Not
right, but how
close.
far along would he have been to 15 wins at this point, you think, with Atlanta?
I mean, I think he'd probably be right where Raheem is, or maybe a game or two better, and so he would be on his way.
Yeah,
he would be on his way.
Yeah, let's figure he's 2 games better, a game better.
Right, so he's
right. So if he gets to 9
5.
wins, then all he's got to do is win 6 next year.
That's pretty good.
Because
quick math there.
Okay, so this is interesting. Do you think there's a job Bill Belichick would have turned down? He would have been offered.
So I will say this: I think as he got more of a view of the league, the one thing I did start to hear the last couple of months, from people around him, is that it almost cemented his feeling that you have to let a coach do it his way, and it's specific to him, but I think he felt that way across the board, where it's that there are too many teams that have too much going on with analytics over here and the GM over here. And the coach is sort of just taking in somebody else's players and trying to make it work.
Cowboys.
Yeah, and I think his feeling was, if I'm going to go somewhere, I want to do it my way. And that's part of the calculus for Bill too. Is it's not just is some team going to offer me a job in the middle of January? Is some team going to let me build it the way that I want to build it? And if there wasn't going to be that team out there, I think he came to the realization, I'd rather just build it the way I want to build it at North Carolina than be stuck in some situation where, like I have all of these different voices and I've got to manage all of that. I'm doing it somebody else's way in the NFL.
Here's what I think.
Because that's the thing. I don't think I've heard a lot of this, like that it's sad that he's going to college football. Why?
Oh, I don't think it's sad at all. In fact, I give him credit because,
like I said, it comes back to this thing in the Northeast where it's like this condescending, like, oh, well, it's only pro sports here. Like the guy's a coach, and like I don't have much. Now it sucks for us, like you know what I mean. Like,
no, it doesn't. It's great.
It'd be a much better. It'd be a great storyline to be able to watch him next year and follow him next year, though.
I mean, you can. Let me say this: is that I think that I know you talk to people, but here's my theory on it. First of all, I think it's great that he took the North Carolina job because it shows he really does want to coach, and it's not just about like that record and his ego and just needing to do something just to do it. But I also believe there was no way he was getting a job in the NFL, and he knew it. And I also think he knew that there was no way he was going to get a job for a major blue blood athletic program. I'll ask you this: so say Ohio State fires Day. I know they're not going to, but say they fire Day. Well, maybe they will. I don't know.
Well, then I'm going and getting a Brinks truck and driving it right into Mike Vrabel's house.
Okay, so all right,
That's a good point.
So wait, he's got a connection there. So him and Orlando Pace used to go after each other at practice. So, if being a big wig, a big highfalutin guy at Ohio State, and I'm not joking, he's very involved in the pro football program. Would you have wanted Bill Belichick to be the coach of Ohio State?
I mean, I wouldn't turn my nose at it.
Okay, but would you want him to be? Would he be one of your top three choices?
Because I think he would be able to come in and, given like a roster that's always like top 3 or 4 in all of college football and talent, like I think he could come in and crush it. Right, go play for Bill Belichick for a year.
And it's kind of comparable to it's a kid from
to get myself ready to play in the NFL.
It's a kid from Brockton, right?
Yeah,
the kid AJ DeBonza, who's scheduled to be the number 1 pick in the 2026 NBA draft, reclassified and just announced that he's going to BYU, and everybody was shocked. It was BYU, North Carolina, Kansas, and Alabama as his top 4
choices. Is he Mormon or something? Or
no, Kevin Young.
He plays in Utah right now.
Kevin Young has been in the NBA for years with the Phoenix Suns and everything else. He's now the head coach. Basically recruited him, flew up from Phoenix, met him at BYU, and said, here's what we've got for you. I've been in the NBA for this many years. I've got a nutritionist, a strength and conditioning coach that all have NBA experience. He's basically built an NBA staff to appeal to a kid like AJ and others to bring them in to show them that they want to get to the NFL. So Bill can do that down in Carolina now with the transport portal and with money.
Have you seen the facilities at Alabama or Ohio State? I mean, that's all taken care of.
Yeah,
that's
right. But again,
North Carolina
selling
has 10,
it though with that experience and what Bert was just
North Carolina has $10 million in NIL money. That's less than the quarterback coming into Michigan is going to make next year.
Do we know if they will increase that because of Bill?
No, they did. They increased it to
20.
$10 million.
It's up to 20.
To 20,
right.
fine.
And
so they
knows,
can get one quarterback.
But who knows that other booster? There's always I'll give you this. Or if it falls Michael Jordan.
North Carolina can never compete at that level. They can't.
It's I think that they, and that's the thing is like I don't know if it's possible to get North Carolina up to the Ohio State, Alabama, Texas, like that level. It's really hard.
Not in the time that Belichick has.
If you're not a blue blood,
and I'm not saying
there's
that.
different.
I'm just saying
there's different
it's a
tiers.
different path. That's all.
Yeah, there's different tiers of that sort of blue blood too. Like then I think like the next level down, you've got like Michigan, Auburn that can get up there every once in a while, but can't stay up there.
No, he has what 3 years, maybe 4,
and North Carolina's below that too. So like
dude, North Carolina's behind Michigan State. North Carolina's behind Washington, behind
Stanford.
Fred,
the transfer portal just opened Monday.
Pick
up the phone and call.
Dan, how's he going to keep kids on his team?
For 1 year. Maybe that's the start, right?
Because you have to actively keep your kids. By the way, the transfer portal's open now, and they haven't even played a bowl game yet.
You're going to do what Jim Harbaugh did at the end at Michigan, which wound up helping him win a national title, which was they had a lot of guys who were like 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks that were staying for 5 years, and then they were getting guys to transfer in for their 4th and 5th year who wanted to get to the NFL. And I think that for that kid, there's going to be the appeal of like Bill Belichick's going to develop me. You know what else on the other end of it? to Sean McVay, to Kyle Shanahan, to Mike Tomlin, to John Harbaugh, like getting a kid from Bill Belichick's program is going to appeal to those guys because those guys are going to say that guy is going to know what it takes when he comes here to play because he's already played for an NFL coach.
It's interesting because I talked and heard from a couple of players that know Belichick, not Ted Johnson, by the way, and that said this is going to be hysterical because him dealing with a 19-year-old kid is going to be impossible for him.
Well, I mean, maybe we're up against it here, but I got a good Urban Meyer story that can.
Oh, good.
That.
Yeah.
What an a-hole he is. Fantastic.
Yeah. The players were like, "This is going to be a joke. Everyone's going to leave this team. That kids, 19, these kids that have been, coddled this entire time."
I just saw one of their better receivers. The day Belichick got hired, entered the portal. Kid averaged 17 yards a catch. Nope, gone.
Yeah, and they're like, well, the quarterback, this quarterback was, considering coming back. Well, no, they got a 4-star kid that, I don't know. I'm glad he went to North Carolina. I think it's good for him. If I was like, with all his erratic behavior, I would
be
think
on
this is
TV
good.
a lot. He'll get the North Carolina will get the Dion treatment their first year.
No, but if you just want to coach, good, like you get to coach. But I really don't think if he wasn't a top 3 choice for if that's true and he wasn't the top 3 choices for any team last year, I don't think he was going to be getting a job this year. And by the way, the teams that were wary of Aaron Rodgers were right. that was smart because he's terrible. He wasn't last week, but every other week he has been. All right, we'll be right back. Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. We got Dan Roach in for Hardy. Bert Breer from the MMQB is here. You know, Bill Belichick in very poor lighting yesterday, by the way. Jordan could not have been happy about that. She was not with him when he got out of the car. I wonder if there's trouble in paradise. If now that he's back to business, if he's got to kind of...
Oh, you think she's not moving to Chapel Hill?
If she doesn't, I think that she'll still be in Nantucket.
Mm.
I think that she's not leaving that place. That might be a difficult situation.
Wait,
Squatters?
You don't think she's going with him?
I said if she doesn't go with him to North Carolina,
I think she might want to keep an eye on him down there.
That I don't think
there are other co-eds that have their designs on Bill. Really? Okay.
I've heard there's a lot of scenery on that campus. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and they're all going to want him. Like, look, if I want an old man, I want them to be a lot richer.
Well, it depends on what you're after. You know what I mean?
And maybe a little happier. One of those two things.
Yeah, like, I mean,
maybe a little guy, someone you could take around and introduce friends to.
And maybe not that public a figure.
Yeah.
Like, I would like a nice billionaire that maybe no one knows I'm doing. Go ahead.
I'm interested because you teased it before we went to break. Tell me the Urban Meyer story. Very interested in that.
So I was in a practice. It was as most of them are at the college level. It was a closed practice. During their fall camp one year, when I was on my training camp trip, I'll stop by Ohio State sometimes and visit with some people. And so, I don't know, this is probably less than 10 years ago. And so, I'm out there and it's probably like an hour and a half into practice. And at one point, Urban stops the practice and just starts ripping into this freshman who doesn't look like a freshman at all, who looks like he could play in the NFL right then, right? And he just yells in front of everybody that he's going to take the kids 5 stars and shove them directly up a body part. And
his pie hole.
Yeah, it was and it just completely destroys this kid in front of everyone. Now this kid wound up being a first-round pick. I have taught there are a couple of guys I was around when that happened, and we've talked about it since. And that was what was called at the time de-recruiting, right? Which is there's a very common term with college coaches where you recruit them, you tell them how great they are for a couple of years, you get them on campus, then you have to de-recruit them, basically knock them back down, And you can't do that anymore because they can all leave, they all have the ability to pick up and go. And, so I think to some degree, what you're getting at, Fred, is that Bill may have to adjust the way he coaches a little bit, and
according to guys who played for him, there's
no
no way.
You're getting at.
And guys that played for him have kids college age now, and they're saying there's no way. He's gonna drive them all away.
So there's going to be an adjustment there. I do think, again, part of this might be, and I think what people are missing is a lot of people are focused on the 18 and 19-year-old piece of this. He doesn't have to build it that way.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at what Kirk Sidnetti did at Indiana this year and taking Indiana from, I don't think it's even an argument, one of the worst programs in any power conference, right?
Sure. Portal kids, right?
It was it was 25 kids out of the portal, and they're in the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana's a worse football program than North Carolina, also a basketball school like North Carolina is. And so there's a different way to build it, which I think, my guess would be that Bill and his staff are going to go really hard into the portal.
And this is just, since it's a holiday book, and this is just a question for you. You are under the knowledge that Indiana will never duplicate this again, no matter who their coach is. They lucked out with their quarterback.
I mean, they lucked out in a lot of different. I think that the difference with Indiana is Indiana brought a lot of kids. There were a lot of kids who had played for Signetti at James Madison that were coming.
Where he wins, Google it.
Yeah, yeah. So, you guys can Google what happened on the third Saturday in November too. You can find out there.
Well, wow, that was a surprise.
Yeah. So anyway, I think there is a different way to do it, which is instead of and this whole idea that he's going to have to sit in the living room of of a high school kid, that doesn't exist really either.
No, and that's wouldn't be my concern, because I think that he could do that. What my concern would be is that, like what you just said, is kids can just leave, and they do. What's the kid from Vanderbilt? It's just like just came right out and said, "I will go to whoever pays me the most."
Right.
I believe the quarterback at Vanderbilt has come out and said, "I'm just going to go to whoever pays me the most."
I think the flip side of it, though, is like I do think like with Bill, there will probably be a self-selecting element to it. Like the type of kid who's going to want to go play for Bill,
whose dad wants him to go play, right?
Like the type of kid who's going to sign up for that,
right, is going to be
probably
coachable.
Is not going to be that kind of kid.
It's going to be coachable, and it is true. A big thing in college football, and a reason that it's not always that there's teams that play in the college football playoff that aren't just Ohio State, Alabama, and Georgia. And Georgia wasn't good, by the way, when I lived there. Is that coaching up kids is a huge part. I don't doubt that Belichick's going to be the best coach out of anybody he goes up against in the ACC. He is. And I think Bill O'Brien was a better coach than most teams that he played this year. And, he'll win games because of that. I think Bill will have success at North Carolina. I think that there's people around here that, like you said, Bert, don't know anything about college football. And I know there is. And then I think I heard someone say,
I think crapping on college football around here is a defense mechanism because people don't know what they're talking about, so they don't want to talk about it.
That's my defense mechanism for everything I crap on is my ignorance about it. But I will say this: I did hear someone say, and he's got the fertile Carolina recruiting ground where he'll dominate.
Jesus, all right,
I know.
Okay,
good you.
I mean,
all right.
Yeah, that's what I think of. I think
what do you
Georgia, California, Florida, and South Carolina.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
What do you think it'll look like?
There are good players there.
There are good players there, Bert, but you don't. But you
Texas,
can't,
Florida, California.
Well, I mean, no, but Clemson, like a huge part of what Clemson did was they went into Charlotte and took all those kids.
Okay, and what is the problem with Clemson and the idea? I mean, Debo saved his ass, but Debo doesn't like any of that stuff in the NIL.
But if you can go, like if you draw like a 5-hour radius around North Carolina, you get to Atlanta. Right,
that's Georgia, though. That's not what I said.
Or Virginia, where there's a ton of
That's
talent.
not what I said. That what the person said is that the fertile recruiting ground of the Carolinas, which I do not believe you can build.
Well, South Carolina, there has been a ton of talent over the years.
And you know who got it? NC State, and I put money on them. NC State got every kid out of South Carolina.
Again, I do think that if we're focusing so much on the high school piece of this, we're probably missing the forest.
No, I know, but I was using it as I wasn't focusing on it. I was using an example of that being a ridiculous statement. That if you dominate the Carolinas, that you're going to win. I mean, Ohio's a great recruiting ground. Ohio State
you can't win by just recruiting Ohio. They're national.
They're national. Michigan State's national. Michigan State's got kids from the Pacific Northwest and California.
Yeah.
You gotta.
So when they come out September 1st, what do you think a Bill Belichick college football team will look like on offense and defense?
See, I actually think
Wing T.
I know, right?
I actually think scheme-wise, it'll work because Bill's simpler than people think. Like everybody thinks it's this real complex.
Is a simp.
Everybody thinks it's like everything is so complex, and he does need smart players. But what most guys who played for him would tell you is that he does on a week-to-week basis make things easy for you. He'll usually say, "We do these 3 things, we win." He's not going to overload guys with information going into a game. Now, what he does need is players who can do different things, who can switch what they're doing from week to week. But like in an individual game setting, like he doesn't make it so difficult that like a smart 20, 21, 22-year-old won't be able to get it.
Well, I mean, they're not going to be able to run a pro-style offense. There's no way he's going to be able to coach
and
it.
they don't have the time to do that either.
They don't have the time to do it anymore, so he's going to have to run a shotgun offense where you're looking
will
to
it
the
be
sideline.
like 17, 14 games? Will he throw the ball everywhere, like spread them out college-wise? Will it be a lot of fun to watch?
Different scheme each week.
I know. What do you think it'll look like from a fan's perspective as you try to watch him go?
I think he probably will try to do that thing where they switch it week to week. Now, you can't be – I don't think you can do as much of that in college again because – your meeting time is limited. The kids are obviously a little bit less developed than a professional football player would be.
But he said yesterday that he would have more. He looked forward to having more time with these kids because of the NFL restrictions now on practice. And getting out
I think
there.
what he's getting at is you can hit more like that, and that to me is the one thing. Like NFL coaches complain a lot about that. Like college football, you can hit a lot more in practice than you can in the pros. Like
interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like if you look at, I mean, have you guys heard about like Bloody Tuesday at Georgia?
No.
Like
with the sororities.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Right.
You walked into that. Come on.
I did. So Kirby Smart
Did you
has
bleep that out?
They call
Adam?
it. They call this. They call
Thanks,
it
Tim.
Bloody Tuesday
Calling attention
at
to it.
Georgia, where every Tuesday the practice is very, very physical, and so like they believe there that one of the reasons that they're such a hard edged program is because of that. And because in the season they're like just killing each other, and that doesn't exist in the pros. So I'm sure to some degree Bill feels like, well, if I'm building a program based on blocking and tackling and fundamentals, I'm gonna have a better chance to do that at the college level than I did in the pros because I'm gonna be able to practice that way.
And that's the part that fascinates me the most out of all the stuff going on around is what Bill's mind is going to look like going into tackling, being a head college coach.
I think it's going to be fascinating to see the way all of this plays out because he has zero experience coaching college
Right.
football.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like legitimately zero. So it's a whole new thing for him, and how does he adapt it? What does it look like? Who's he bringing with him? You know,
Well, he's bringing Mike Lombardi.
Yeah,
And that's the most important thing.
Do you know Mike Lombardi? Like know him?
a little bit, not real well.
What does a GM of the NIL do exactly, Bert? What are his responsibilities?
Well, no, like this isn't, but
It's huge.
but this isn't new. Like what they're doing there.
No, I
No,
understand
we went
it
over it
isn't new.
yesterday.
We
Like,
got
a
that.
college
But what
program-
is
No,
he going to be doing?
We looked at how much they got paid.
Gets paid a lot.
Well, he's not going to get paid a
But
lot.
that position,
And Michigan is over $1 million
Alabama,
position.
whatever, they get paid a lot.
So they do manage. They manage recruiting, and they're the ones. And I honestly, like, I almost think those jobs. Can you imagine if you were one of those guys having to look at high school tape and having to decipher? Okay, like this is like Division 5 in Mississippi, and this guy looks like a really good player, but how do I compare that against a guy playing like big school in Texas? You know, so it's doing that. It's looking at transfers, it's keeping track of that, and then it's going to be managing NIL to some degree. I'm sure they'll have somebody who's like NIL specific, but the GM will be the over-the-top guy.
When D'Antoni was the coach of Michigan, he kind of fell in love with this, which ended up hurting him. But he would just, when he looked at kids, he would look at how much they could physically grow. Like for all like linemen, the kid that they took in the first round kid, the tackle out of Michigan State, Conklin came in as a like
he was a walk-on.
Came in and he was like 6'5", like 100 and like 200 pounds, something really slight. He was a good small, I think a small high school kid, and they put 100 pounds on him, and he grew.
They look at like arm length, and they look at like how broad their shoulders are.
Exactly. So a lot of that. That's what I would concentrate on if I wasn't Ohio State or Alabama.
It was actually interesting. I remember having this conversation with Jeff Halfley when he got to Boston College, and he said we have a lot of good kids, but we do not have prototypes. And so, when he had just come from Ohio State, and Halfley had seen it there, and they were really strict about prototypes there under Urban Meyer. So a guy needs to be this big and this tall and this long and this fast, or he cannot play for us unless there's some sort of circumstance that allows him to. So they were super strict about it, which is one reason why they've had so many draft picks. They had so many draft picks there under Urban Meyer. And so what Halfley did was he went in there and he said, you know what? I can't get who Ohio State can, but what I can do is I can use the prototypes. So the guys he'd take chances on would be the guys who fit those sorts of parameters.
You can build them over 3 or 4 years.
Right. It's like I'm not betting on what he is right now.
Yep.
I'm going to see what he is in 3 years.
And that's where the talent comes in, and the coaching comes in, and the nutrition and workout comes in. Mike Lombardi, why does he know so little about the injury reports for the 49ers, even though his kid works for the 49ers? Is it because he's terribly dumb? He's been on Mad Dog twice. One time he announced how he had heard McCaffrey before the season that he was coming back for week 1. And then I looked on my phone, and the first story on ESPN was that McCaffrey was out. And then he said, why did the line move on the 49er game? And it was the game Brock Purdy was out. He's a moron and a fool.
Is he running interference for the Niners there?
No. He got very upset when corrected. Well, how am I supposed to know? I'm coming on this show. Mike Lombardi, to me, what do people think about him around the NFL?
I mean,
be honest.
It's like that he's Belichick's valet or whatever.
Like, why does he do that? Why does he do that?
Well, I guess we just found out.
Oh, yeah, to get that real big job. So he spent 10 years of his life hoisting nuts around
but
so
his
he could
last,
get a $600,000 job.
But the two football jobs that he's gotten over the last 12 years since Cleveland, right, have both been been Bill.
So he's a moron.
And even Cleveland was because of Bill. Like,
yeah.
Cleveland was.
Yeah. He's an idiot.
Cleveland was like Haslam was listening to Bill on that.
See, there's Josh McDaniels who got a shot at 2 head coaching jobs and offensive coordinator positions because of Bill Belichick. I understand that loyalty. I understand Matt Patricia's loyalty to him. And Patricia's a real idiot and a dick. But
well, it wouldn't be such a problem if he wasn't like talking about everybody else like they were a moron. You know
that's
what I mean?
that's
the problem.
Of course, it wouldn't be a problem if he wasn't talking about everyone else like they're a moron. He would just be a moron,
right?
Like, yeah, that he's an idiot that acts superior to everyone else and acts like he has inside information. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
What's your inside information, you moron? And then it's sad to carry a guy's nuts around and be Beetlejuice of sports talk radio where they have you on to make fun of you, and then what you get out of it is some rinky-dink job at North Carolina is a shame.
Me?
What? Did you say that?
Yeah.
Oh, that was Beetlejuice. All right, thank you. Yeah, it sounded like Dan.
I know, Fred, you looked at me like, and
it sounded like Dan.
Did I just speak and not know it?
All right, I love this Bill Belichick story. I apologize. I love it.
You guys
I love
see the
everything.
Devondre Campbell thing?
Let's talk about that next.
That's coming up next.
Let's talk about that next.
How about that, Fred?
No one cares about Sunday's Patriots game. Let's talk about.
Not interested in the Cardinals?
No. I saw them.
I'll be there.
I saw them play their best game. I saw them beat the Jets. Saw every minute of that game. I don't need any more of the Cardinals.
Do they beat the Pats?
Are the Cardinals going to beat the Patriots? Who knows? That's why they play the game, Danny.
You'll have to tune in.
Very Jerry Trupiano.
All right, so we'll be back in just a moment.
You're good.
Sports Hub headline.
is elongating.
Weekday mornings.
Here goes Hardy.
Dutcher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
The Sports Hub.
I know this song. It's Christmas.
Goes for Danny. I figured Danny's a Avengers guy.
Yep, thank you.
What, Danny's 89 years old?
He has tastes that align with that era of music.
I don't think that's true. Dan's not that old.
Didn't say he was old.
Dan's a child of the 70s.
Got a little Munsters in it, too. Doesn't it?
Look how happy he is.
Well, that's normal.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want out of him?
Party at 1313 Mockingbird Lane tonight, right?
That's not that's a reference to the address of the Munsters home.
Yep. Friday the 13th.
Where I have indeed masturbated to that show, as Marilyn was very good looking. Oh, that's right. Dan doesn't like that masturbation. Dan.
Is Dan uncomfortable?
Dan hates the word masturbation, which is so funny to me.
No, it's not just that. Dan has some triggers.
No, masturbation's the biggest trigger.
Oh, of course, it's the biggest
in the
trigger,
most innocuous of all
like,
of them.
Wheel one out or something like that, or is that easier?
I just like saying masturbation because it's a medical term. It's a term that is
medical term.
Yeah, it's what it's called, masturbating. Okay. What happened in the 49ers game last night?
What happened last night is Devondre Campbell's the starting linebacker for San Francisco. Bert, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. He's starting linebacker. Has been a starting linebacker for all 9 years in the league. They came out at halftime. He was informed that he was benched, but later on in the third quarter, asked to go out on the field, said no, left and went to the locker room. Is that about right?
Yeah, and so like the part of the backdrop there is that Dre Greenlaw was his first game back. If you guys remember, he's the guy who tore his Achilles last year at the Super Bowl. Remember the one where he slipped on the turf and like was coming off
crying and everything else too.
Awful.
Everybody
it
was
just
right?
a terrible injury. But yeah, so like Dre Greenlaw was his first game back. He actually played really well. And so the Niners in game sort of made the decision, like, okay, Devondre Campbell, who's clearly on the back nine.
He's 31, right?
Yeah. So we're all set with you for the rest of this game. And he said, okay, I'm all set with you then.
And he left. So then, after the game, sometimes there will be coaches to cover for players like that.
There was no covering.
And
the players too.
Yeah, not the case for Kyle Shanahan.
Happened with Devondre Campbell. He didn't play, and he went into the locker room at some point.
Yeah, he said he didn't want to play today.
Play today?
Yep.
The coaching staff?
He did when I asked him why he didn't want to go in.
During the game or before?
No, that was in the third quarter.
Has that ever happened to you where players said they didn't want to play in a game?
No.
He got demoted for this game, right? He was not going to play.
No, he was gonna go in when Dre came out.
Never to be heard from again.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
Well, no, you got to cut him.
No, today you have to cut him.
No, it's over.
Yeah. No team's going to pick him up.
Oh, wait, Pat's pick him up, Bert?
No, but at the age of
Establish a culture? Yeah, establish a culture around here.
Exactly. Hey, why
No,
not,
but
Brett?
his NFL career is over.
It might be, yeah.
That's it.
I mean,
no team's going to pick him up. He's 31. He's not 24.
I mean, he's clearly on the back nine. He's played okay, not great. They felt that way coming into the game, and like look, like I think to some degree he had to know the score too. Like the reason the job was there for him, and this is a guy who was in Atlanta with Kyle, so Kyle has known him for basically his entire career. Like he knew the score when he was coming in. Like the reason they're picking me up is because Dre Greenlaw tore his Achilles, and Dre Greenlaw will be out for most of the year. But when Dre Greenlaw comes back, in all likelihood,
it's like Jacoby and Drake May, right?
I mean, he's holding the spot, and so I don't know why there was so much confusion on Devondre Campbell's part, but I was trying to think of other examples of things like this. Like, I mean, Vontae Davis, God rest his soul, when he retired at halftime of that game.
I remember that.
Was it Bills Dolphins, right? Something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
There's another one too that's escaping me right now. Oh well, the obvious one, the GOAT of these would be Antonio Brown.
Oh, well, I was watching that game
Fred?
live.
I was watching that too.
Oh, that was so great. Like, I had no
If you're
idea.
gonna walk off, that's the way to go.
And it was. I had
if there's
no.
a perfect way for Antonio Brown to put a capstone on his career.
I thought he was celebrating. Like it
know.
was so weird. If you don't know, Antonio Brown during a game took his jersey and pads off.
It was legit. It was his exit from the NFL.
Yeah, and he went around high-fiving the crowd at MetLife.
He ran through the end zone. It was fantastic.
Yeah. And during a play, he wasn't on the field for the play, but like during a play, he was running around in the end zone. Like it could have been too many men on the field. It could have been too many men on the field. I mean, it was really something. It was great. All right. Well, Bert, that was.
I mean, Antonio Brown. Like, did you guys follow his Twitter account?
Of course,
it's incredibly. It's incredibly entertaining.
It's almost too much now. Like like he. There's only so many Giselle.
He hits
shows.
a lot. He hits a lot of home runs, though.
Yeah, he does. Well,
Which almost makes me think somebody else is running it for him. But.
No, it's him. I think that he's got the right amount of crazy to be good on social media.
I mean, there's just like I think you could come up with like a top 10 Antonio Brown stories, like the fake COVID card from that like county in Florida that has like 13 people in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill, who knows?
I think it was Orange County. It was like,
who knows if he was even wrong? All right. All right. So listen, I hear some of these things in retrospect that I'm like, who knows?
Yeah.
All right. Here's the deal. Bert, that was a great appearance. Thank you so much. I very much enjoyed it. I love this Bill Belichick story. I can't get enough of it. If the audience doesn't like it, I apologize.
It's gonna be fun. I think it's
but I love it.
I mean, honestly, I do feel this way though. At the end of all that, like, good for him. Mm-hmm. Like this, like you said, like he just like that somebody that he likes his job that much that he just wants to go coach.
die coaching.
And
pretty much what it's going to be.
My whole point was like the hubris of just wanting that record despite anything and just sitting around and just being nasty and like just wanting that record was not the way that you would think a great...
Or getting revenge on people.
Right. Yes. That's a better way to put it. Thank you. Like getting revenge on people is not the way you think. Like it's sad to see like a successful guy, like a wise guy, like end his career just out of spite and revenge. Like you would think that you would mature and like learn. And this shows I love coaching. I truly love it. Like at a visceral level, it's not about records. It's not about pride. It's not about I had revenge. It's about coaching.
It's like
Tino,
right? It's like Terry Francona.
I had somebody
same type of deal.
I had somebody
he's a good guy
who knows Bill. I had somebody who
Bill's
knows Bill pretty well, who had the same sort of background as Bill, who was the son of a coach and everything else, right? Like, and grew up in it. And like he said to me last week, he goes, he's like, I think Bill's like me. It's all we've ever known. And so the idea of being away from it sucks. And then you get away from it for a little while and you want it back. And so this guy gave me this advice. He's like, if you heard, like, because I had told him, somebody had told me whether it's high school, college, pro, he's going to coach next year. The guy said to me, he's like, if somebody told you that that's why, like, because he got away from something that's like the only thing he's ever known and he wants to go back to it. So good for him that he's found the right place to go and do it.
Yeah, I agree.
And again, like, I think a huge part of it, just to put, pin in all of this, like, I think a huge part of this is he wants to do it his way, and North Carolina's going to give him the opportunity.
Both Steve and Brian go, or just Steve? I think it'll be just Steve.
I think it's just Steve. I think so. I don't think a lot of the NFL guys will go with him. Like, I think the NFL guys
and Matt.
Yeah,
guys?
I think Josh and Matt. Like, my guess would be they don't go. Like, I don't think like the.
So what do you think is stoppable?
I think some of the guys.
Are you aware of the clock at all?
I think some of the guys.
Bert, thanks. Have a nice Christmas.
Some of the guys. Some of the guys who would have gone with him if he had gotten an NFL job, I do not think will go with him. So the staff will look a little different.
Yes, you're doing the right thing. You're not being funny. You're pushing the mic away, which you should have done. We're up against it, and I have to tease this next break because I need calls. Because every time that my normal co-host is out, we all, as an audience, get to experience something beautiful, especially around the holidays. Dan, who's in today, you could talk to Dan. This is Shooting the Breeze, where you call in, and it's just like your walking club, Dan. Everyone We sit around. There's no topic. It's like, let's have a lemonade. Let's meet at the post office, and let's meet at the
Talk
Dunkin'.
50s baseball.
Let's meet
right?
at the Dunkin' and just hang out and just exchange pleasantries. So you all know what Shooting the Breeze is. This is going to be the last one of 2024. 617-779-0985. If you don't call in, I'll have to pivot to something else.
Yeah. It's got to be positive, too.
It can be anything.
No.
Directed at Dan.
No,
You can
no,
ask him any
no,
question.
no.
He'll answer anything
No
about
sex.
masturbation
No
or
sex
anything
talk.
else.
No.
617-779-0985.
Stay tuned for more.
Going to show us.
opening kickoff to the final play. Your home of the pass. 98.5. The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Celtics are now 20-5 on the season after an easy win over Detroit, 123-99 at TD Garden. Celtics led by 25 after three quarters and led by 32 at one point before the bench came in. Peyton Pritchard scored 27 points and added 10 assists off the bench to lead the Green, who did not have Jason Tatum thanks to a sore knee. They visit the Washington Wizards on Sunday night. As for the Bruins, they played another ugly game in Seattle late last night and lost big again, this time 5-1. Unlike the team's 8-1 disaster in Winnipeg to start this trip, interim head coach Joe Sacco took some positives away from this game.
After the first 6 minutes of the game where we were shorthanded, I thought that our 5-on-5 game started to come around, and we generated. We had some opportunities. We had some looks. It just didn't go in the back of the net for us tonight.
Oliver Bjorkstrand scored twice for the Kraken. The Bruins are 0-2 on a 5-game road trip. They're in Vancouver tomorrow night. Patriots are missing wideout Javon Baker, defensive lineman Jaquelin Roy, and safety Jalen Hawkins at practice yesterday. They visit Arizona on Sunday. Last night, the LA Rams beat San Francisco 12-6. Bill Belichick, introduced as the new head football coach at the University of North Carolina yesterday, he has signed a 5-year contract. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 99 Restaurants. Celebrate the season at the Nines with their incredible New York strip and lobster casserole. A flame-broiled 8-ounce New York strip paired with a delicious lobster casserole. You gotta love the Nines. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
When sports news breaks in Boston,
officially from the Boston Bruins,
it breaks here.
Boston Bruins general manager Don Sweeney announced today, November 19th, the team has relieved Jim Montgomery of his duties as head coach.
For the latest updates,
Associate coach Joe Sacco will assume interim head coaching duties.
And the analysis.
To me, this isn't enough. I think they got to shake up the locker room.
Stay right here.
We'll see how this goes.
Boston's home for breaking sports news. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Fred, what's it like to work with Hardy and Wallach?
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the sport.
I'll tell you, Dan Roach is here, so this is an opportunity. If you don't know what shooting the breeze is, I got an Instagram comment. I don't read all of them, but I did this. Someone says, I stopped listening. Because there's a video of me talking about how I predicted the crochet trade, and then John didn't remember. Yeah. And it says, looks like they enjoy slapping around Wallach now. All the good-natured humor in the show is gone now. Just bitterness remains. And I said,
that's what I thought yesterday.
I got back to the guy.
Yeah.
I said, that's what I look for in my comedy, some good-natured hijinks.
I thought, listening, I'm driving. Like, wow, what's going on?
Plenty
with
of entertainment out there for you.
There's attention.
Yeah.
There's attention.
Suddenly Susan is available streaming. If you want some good-natured hijinks.
Speaking of that, Fred, I know we
Caroline in the City.
I know we're going to get to.
Yeah. What an insult! All the good-natured humor is gone. F you, you pussy.
You know me well enough.
Yeah.
You and John do. So I have a 6-hour flight tomorrow, and I don't know, and especially coming back Monday, I don't know what to watch.
I like the conversation. Let's talk about it with Cedric Maxwell because we have to shoot the breeze.
Okay.
All right, so this is the deal. You call in. We have full phone lines. I appreciate it, guys. This is safe space. You can ask Dan anything.
No M talk.
M means masturbation.
Yes, the Mantle and Maris, fine.
Masturbation.
Which he does not like. 617-779-0985. Mike, hi. We're just shooting the breeze. Go ahead.
I just want to talk about this weird dream I had last night. I was in the single line for It's a Small World After All on Disney World, and I sit down in it, and who's sitting next to me but Dan Roach. And he starts, like, kissing me, and then he goes, do you want to go to the backstage? I said, yeah. And we walk through the water, through this back room, and there's just this throne. And Dan sits in the throne, and all the princesses surround him, and they're scantily clad. Cinderella, Snow White, they're all there. And then he starts masturbating.
Okay,
and
that is way too big a fantasy.
Feel like shooting the breeze?
It didn't say that that's what he
That's
was
some of that cartoon
about.
stuff Hardy was talking about yesterday.
It said he had a dream. That's all. My goodness. Adam, go ahead, sir.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I have a question for Dan Roach. I once asked this to a home plate umpire in high school, and I got thrown out of the game. When taking a deuce, Dan, do you crumble or fold the toilet paper? I need to know.
When you go number 2, do you crumple or fold the toilet paper?
I can answer that one.
Okay. Yeah.
Shooting
You
the breeze
can.
about philosophy, the Italians, my Uncle Hector.
There's none of the M word there. Thank you. That's fine.
No, that's just the bathroom, which is okay. That's okay. Joe, go ahead. We're shooting the breeze.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, Joe?
I was out for a walk. I heard Dan. Love walking.
Do you live around Dan? Dan lives in the Andover area. Do you live around there?
Oh, no. I'm in north central Mass in the lovely town of Fitchburg, which, let me tell you, is great to walk around when the sun comes up.
Furniture capital of the world.
Is that true, Dan? Is Fitchburg a good walking town?
I don't know.
Because you are, Dan's in a walking club.
I'm a walking man, as Cedric Maxwell can relate to, huh? Like a James Taylor song.
Oh, we have some lovely ponds and lakes and pools and ponds.
Okay. Yeah.
Piqued my interest.
Are you inviting Dan over for a morning walk?
Well, I don't think he's ready to walk yet, but he's more than welcome to come and frequent any of our paths out here, of course.
Well, that might be an Adam thing. Adam, have you ever walked around that Fitchburg area?
I've not. That's a little far from where I am. But and I do like to go far and wide, but I prefer to go toward the ocean if I'm going to go far and wide.
Because, Joe, go to 985thesportshub.com and seek out Adam's information, because Adam is up to walk anywhere that it doesn't cost money.
That's right.
That is what he is.
Sitting around at a cocktail party, shooting the breeze, shooting the breeze, shooting the breeze, shooting the breeze.
That's some good shooting the breeze.
Yeah.
That was a real shooting the breeze call. That was just getting nowhere fast.
Time to walk around and think.
That was just getting nowhere fast,
Yep.
baby. And I love it. Danny, go ahead, my friend.
Fred.
Yes, Danny.
Hey, I'm a fan of yours, Fred. I didn't realize you and your wife were in Splitsville. I just had a question about that. And are you on dating sites? You do
Yes.
the dating sites?
Yes.
You getting laid on those sites?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yeah.
What are the sites?
The dating site that I've had the most success with is Hinge.
Hinge. All right, I got to try that out.
Yeah,
I'm in Boston. I got to try that out.
Yeah. You know who gives good advice on how to answer the questions on those dating apps is Kendra. Kendra is, she told me to be more, sarcastically dismissive of these sites.
What are some of the questions?
And it worked like a charm. Oh, they're all dumb. They're just dumb. It's all stupid. But Hinge is the one I've had the most success with.
Like describe the infield fly rule in 50 words or less?
Absolutely. Tinder seemed like a lot of prostitution was going on. I wasn't a fan of Bumble.
Nothing. I just stopped by to chat, shoot the breeze.
There's something called Raya that if they approve you can get on, but then they suggest people from like California, and you're like, what am I doing here?
How are you ever going to accomplish that?
I don't know. So I'm not on that anymore. Dave, go ahead.
Boys, I have a general question about attractive women in the media. Does there get to be a point where a woman is too attractive for a job? I'm thinking specifically about Kayla Burton and how I try to watch the Celtics and I have trouble focusing.
Well, she was an athlete, right? Kayla Burton was like a big athlete, right?
All the Burton daughters were.
Yeah, so I don't understand. People, I don't even know what she looks like, but I've heard she's quite beautiful. I haven't.
Yes.
I don't know if I've ever seen her. Is there a point where a woman is to like be an anchor? It's because they do hire anchors based on their looks. There's no question about that.
I agree. That's how I got my job.
Yeah, you're a sports guy. Bernie Smilovitz was a big one. He was an ugly fellow, but
excuse me.
Shooting the breeze.
Whether
Shooting the
people,
breeze.
whether people and anchors are hired because of their looks.
Yep.
A look. It doesn't have to be like they're conventionally beautiful, but they have to fit a look. You don't see in major markets very like heavy women and men, women or men. You don't see very heavy ones. Dan, is there a point, in your opinion, this is not a loaded question and is not designed to get you in trouble, I swear to God, at all. But do you think there's a point where, okay, I'll ask you this, and you don't have to be descriptive. Is there a type that they're looking for? in television?
I would say that was a used to be.
Okay. Is it like, can someone be too glamorous and too good looking to be an anchor? Man or a woman?
I don't think so, right? I'm trying to think. Like I can't think of anybody that was like.
There have been a couple in Boston.
I think you have to have a brain
in the past.
Right?
No, I didn't say that.
All right, sorry. I just thought I gave my opinion. Sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't answer the question directly.
No, you have to be able to do the job, but there's no question that you can't be I'll tell you this: a big fat guy is not getting an anchor job on television. Right. This isn't even about sex, about the sex of the person. This is about like a big heavy guy is not going to get an anchor job. They could be a sports guy. They could be even well, Crash was a traffic guy.
Yep.
I mean, you could be anything. I wonder. You know what's Fox 25 hired a beautiful woman to be an anchor, and it's thrown off the whole balance of everything going on over there. Because Sherry Spears very attractive, but she's attractive in her own way. And now they have this classically beautiful woman at the anchor desk. We've discussed this.
Yes,
John,
we have.
and it's mixed everything up.
Yes, we have.
It's gotten everything out of control.
I'm drinking Crown Royal and salsa water.
I'm a
For the summer
strange.
breeze.
Well, you're watching the wrong station, Fred. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I've always been a huge Paula Eben fan.
Yes, there you go.
I
Johnny?
like Paul. I think Paul Eben is very attractive.
I have somewhere a glossy
awesome.
photo that she signed.
I find
really?
Paul,
Oh, yeah.
I find Paul Eben to be very attractive.
Do you have an autographed picture of anybody, Fred?
Altoon, Albert Pujols, Albert Pujols. What's the one on top? I'll get back to you.
Okay.
I'll tell you that.
But no, like TV people or actresses or things
no,
like
no.
that?
I don't. For some reason, I don't like
like Joni from Happy Days.
I have bands articles and I have artists that drew on skateboards, autographs on skateboards.
Wow.
Junior, go ahead, Junior.
Yeah, Dan, I was in Disney in October, and I was walking around thinking, I wonder what Dan's favorite ride is for simulating intercourse.
Feel like shooting the breeze?
That's unfair. It would have to be something that goes in a tunnel.
That was very sneaky the way he kind of.
These callers don't say that, and thank you, Adam, for recognizing my brilliance there. Dan, go ahead.
The rock and roller coaster.
Fred, you're so loyal. You always take my call. This question is for Roach. So you're at Disney and you have to dispose of a dead hooker's body. Where would you recommend you dispose of the body?
Shooting the breeze about philosophy.
You actually made Dan
Italians,
laugh.
Uncle Eckley.
Dan from Newton. You actually made Dan laugh.
Probably underneath the Cars ride, right? The automated push cars somewhere over in the back over there.
Well, I'll tell you what you would do. You call the proper authorities and have them pick up the
yes,
body.
there you go, Fred.
Okay.
We've got a body here under Small World.
Well, you have a lot of ashes. Crash put his dead mom's ashes in that thing.
Do that.
They had to tell people to stop it.
That and Fenway, like, come on.
That's not good.
I understand Fenway a lot more than I understand it's a small world.
Yeah, same, right?
I don't understand what the deal with is. What's a small world? It's
Don't
a
get me
small
going on
world
that, Fred,
is.
because there are 5 to 6 rides legitimately that should be redone differently, refurbished. That is so they're lacking in creativity with
Splash
some of those
Mountain.
rides. Splash Mountain, well, that got done. That it's now the Princess and the Frog. That was like
Peter
stupid.
Pan.
But yes, those kind of rides.
Peter
there,
Pan.
When you're in Mexico and eating in their little room with that stupid, like, you have
you go to the
El
pharmacy.
Canto, you have those kind of songs.
Everything's
you can
available.
Play it and everything else as well. There's so many things you could do creatively
Do they have
that they haven't done.
If you're at Epcot and you go to Mexico, are the pharmacies very loose with their drugs like they are in,
pretty
in
much
actual
so,
Mexico?
Too. Same as Italy.
No, Italy apparently very difficult from the books I read. Very difficult to procure prescription drugs. Matt, go ahead.
All right, Dan, you're from North Andover. You live in Andover. Who did you want to win the Thanksgiving game, and were you aroused when North Andover won?
I spoke to both teams, the senior football players, the cheerleaders, and the band members at a breakfast. And I just said, go out, just do everything you can to be a great teammate. Thank your parents, thank your coaches, thank your teammates, and go out and play the best you can. And whoever wins, wins. But take that experience, take everything you do in the world of sports, and be part of a team, because you'll appreciate it when you get out. It'll help you just form yourself as an individual. Go find your passion and be the best you can be.
Be part of a
that's how I
team is going to help you form yourself as an individual.
If you're on a team, Fred, you're part of a team. You don't like to talk about it, but you're the leader of a team in here, leader of men. right? So look what you
I
do.
am?
Yes. So
I'm the leader.
And I think
You're
people
the
feed
leader.
off that.
Yep.
Look at John. He's complimentary to that situation. Carved his own niche.
I mean, there was a
Yeah.
leader here that was doing
Well,
everything.
But look at Adam. Look at what he's come in.
He's shooting
and
the
he
breeze.
steps
Shooting
right
the
in. Look
breeze.
at Nick
Shooting
and
the
Ryan.
breeze.
I think it's great.
Okay.
Be
yeah.
part of a team, Fred. There's nothing
Well,
better
listen,
than
I
that.
have my kids playing.
See?
Playing sports. I couldn't help myself. I put this story about Milo on my.
That's what I tell my kids. It was a nice story, too.
On my.
I'm rooting for him.
You're
Port
rooting
cider. He's a port cider.
Yeah. All right. I'll take 2 more because we're going. I'm going to take 3 more.
3 more. Okay.
Don't cut into my time. We have a special thing coming up next.
I'm gonna bookend.
Oh, jeez.
2. I'm gonna go 2, and then I'm gonna go 1, then 1,
Why don't
and
we
then I'm
end it
gonna
on that?
end with
I felt
1.
really good about that one.
Okay. I'm gonna start with this one. I'm sorry. I'm gonna start with this one. JP, go ahead. Naked guy.
Who's JP? This is the naked guy in the trunk. Hi.
Hi, naked guy in the trunk.
As an early birthday, or not birthday, Christmas gift, Fred, I wanted to sing you the lyrics to your favorite song, New Girl.
Okay.
Hey, girl, what you doing? Hey, girl, where you going? Who's that girl? Who's that girl? It's just, yeah.
All right, thank you. Naked guy in the trunk. It's very exciting. Now we'll take this as the part of the sandwich. Jesse, go ahead.
Yeah, I tried calling ZLX and no one answered the phone. Could you play "Gimme Shelter" by the Rolling Stones? Thanks, guys.
All right, this was not what it said. It was going to be happening. They've moved to a much more successful format, which is music, and the ratings speak to that. Monty, let's finish things with Monty. Monty, go ahead, Monty.
Oh, Wallach, you're getting a pass today. So everyone has different methods of completion. I'm just curious about Dan. Is it white Mickey gloves or is it a baseball glove? Which way?
Summer breeze. Feel like shooting the breeze?
it yet.
Oh, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
I think the best move you could possibly make, and I said it yesterday, is dealing for Crochet because you were in a position where you have more than anyone else.
The Fairy Tale in New York, yeah.
Fairy Tale in New York, yeah. I can't.
The thing about that one is there's too many effing covers of it. Like, the original is perfect. I know you're burned out on it. That's fine.
I love that
it.
song, but I've had
why
enough.
would you try to make that song better? Every other version of it pales in comparison, and it makes the person trying to do it sound foolish. With the exception of Billy Bragg and Florence and the Machine. That one's decent. But
I'm unfamiliar with that, but I'm burned out on those two songs.
Fair.
I can only Christmas in Hollis is a shame too because I used to love it.
Well, we just played it, so I got plenty of other holiday gems.
Well,
to
I
share
would
with
hope
the next
so,
week.
Adam.
You know, Fred.
That's what I would hope.
I want to put you in the right. If I'm putting you in the right frame of mind, we're getting the best show we can get every single day.
And that should be coddling me. Should be your goal every day is to coddle me and to keep me not from blowing up. All right. So anyway, so this Crochet trade went down. You heard me as everyone was freaking out about them not getting Max Fried. I said, listen, that's why would they pay for a 31-year-old slight left-hander when there is a Garrett Crochet is a huge kid left-hander that is controllable for 2 years very reasonably. They can go out and do more in free agency, and they have redundancy and a surplus of talent in the minor leagues. Then I didn't understand them. We're getting to Dan, and Dan's going to do most of the talking. But I didn't understand this uproar. Red Sox fans just anything. It's just this uproar. Now, look, since they made this shrewd move, in my opinion, for Crochet, now they got to do something else in free agency. I don't think – I'm setting you up, Dan. I don't think you pay for another top-tier starter. If you want depth in the rotation, I understand that. I think you go for a positional player, maybe two. Dan, take us through. So when you heard they didn't get Max Fried, what were your thoughts?
That they didn't they got to do something, right?
Okay.
And I don't care if it was free agency or if it was a trade. They had to acquire starting pitching. They have to acquire a right-handed bat. And I'm fine with however you do it. I want you to make moves.
But did you flip out about when they didn't get Fried?
No.
Okay, now I'll ask you this. Fried is the more experienced pitcher. He's the longer. He's pitched in big, high-leverage situations.
Mm-hmm.
He's 31, though. They signed him for 8 years. They're lucky if they get 4 good ones out of it. Who would you – I'm setting you up, but be honest. Who would you have rather had for the Red Sox and the needs of the Red Sox, assuming they extend Crochet, which they would have to?
Crochet.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat, because he's, 25 years old?
24.
He's controllable for 2 more years, and then he becomes a free agent. You can sign him to a long-term deal anytime between now and, that free agency. And he's got good stuff. It looks like he's blossoming into that number one ace and has showed a lot of those things that you'd like. And you're not killing yourself financially with what we've seen because of Soto's money. You're not killing yourself financially. Now, would I like Corbin Burns? Yes, but nowhere near what he's going to command when all is said and done. Because I like him pitching in the AL East last year with Baltimore. I'd like to sign these guys. I don't understand why these teams don't take what's the highest AAV right now for a pitcher. Whatever it is, let's say it's $35 million or what have you, or $40 million, whatever Fried made. I don't understand why you wouldn't go to Burns and say, we'll sign you to a 4-year deal plus an option at a much higher AAV, right? So he's going to get like 8 to 10 years, Fred, at like $225, $250 million. Sign him to a 4-year, $50 million per contract with an option year that if he has Tommy John surgery, you get it at a cheaper price, an option year or something like that.
Zach Wheeler's number one, $42 million.
Right, so sign up for $50 million in 4 years and say we'll give you $200 million, and that way you're only stuck with him for 4 years in a contract, as opposed to 8 when they're useless at the end of a contract.
Would you rather that they get Burns or Teoscar Hernandez and a back-end starter?
I would like to have that accomplished. I don't care how. You know what I mean? Like right now, I'd probably say Teoscar Hernandez as far as what's available, as far as right-handed bats and what he can bring to a team. Shorter term than an Alex Bregman, who's out there looking for 8 and 200.
Is Bregman a righty?
Yes.
Okay.
So he'd fit in nicely. He could probably play second base for you and everything else. I love his attitude. Cora knows him better than anybody. He could be a Pedroia type of player, but not for 8 years. It's like give me him for 4 or 5 and maybe a higher AAV, and I'm down with that. But
he's I keep saying this, but from what I've heard, Bregman really wants to stay in Houston, and and despite their proclivity not to pay guys,
they'll pay him.
Because
he's a franchise guy.
But the right fielder's available. Tucker is available for trade, and now Tucker's the better player.
But Tucker's going to want a Soto deal soon.
Tucker's a top 10 player in the league.
You think he's going to want to? You think he's going to? I mean, it's not going to be Soto's deal, but you think he's going to command like $600 million?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So give me like a lesser known free.
But if you traded for him and got him in town, and he doesn't go to, and you don't let him get to free agency.
That's the key, Fred.
Do you think
he's
that
entering the last year of his deal? Tucker is.
Okay, yeah. You get him in, though, and you don't let him get to free agency. Do you think – how old is Tucker? Do you have it there?
28.
Okay, do you think that – is that the kind of guy that you would pay that kind of money to? Because, I mean –
I don't know, no.
If you're going to pay someone, is that the kind of guy that do you think Tucker's worth that kind of money?
Here's why I don't do it. He's probably worth that kind of money, but for you and what you have in your franchise right now, that's kind of not the fit that you're looking for. You know what I mean? From the sense of, hold on a second here. I'm just kind of.
He's a Gold Glover. He's a Silver Slugger. He's a 3-time All-Star. He's a 30-30 threat.
He's probably the best defensive right fielder in baseball. He's a superstar. And now it's believed that Houston would not re-sign him, so he's available for trade.
Right. But I think you have so much invested.
Well, you wouldn't have to trade a ton because he's in the last year of his deal.
But you can get cheaper from the sense of you have so much invested in Roman Anthony, everyone says legitimately he's going to be
right
with this
Well, they
team.
won't trade him, right?
Right, but he's that guy that you would say that could become your Kyle Tucker. That you have under control for how many years to start, and then grows into that. Then you pay him that franchise type of money.
The other part of it is, unlike a lot of Red Sox prospects over the years, he's not a long ways off.
Yeah, he's 20 years old.
He's in AAA.
Hit 291 last year.
What?
A high ops, and he's like the legit guy. Him and Christian Campbell, where you can move around and play in different places. So they're set up for these guys to become franchise type of players.
Would you trade for Nolan Arenado?
And that's a great question, Fred.
Because I have a new feeling on that.
Well, here's my question to you is, I was thinking about this morning, actually, on the drive-in. Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? Yeah, way to work. Is there anybody on St. Louis that you would sit there and say would be a perfect fit for the Red Sox? Because I'm thinking of Chaim Bloom, who knows this Red Sox organization.
Chaim Bloom's the GM in waiting.
Better than anybody else. That maybe
and he's doing exactly in St. Louis. They're tearing it down, so he's doing exactly what he
Bloom,
did here.
if nothing else, can build back a farm system.
So if he's looking
they
for...
have a good farm system. There's just nothing worked out.
Right.
So go ahead.
So if he's looking for young players or what have you, who do you think the Red Sox would go to Chaim and say, this is kind of what we'd like to do? They could create a good trade on the market for someone there.
Well, St. Louis wouldn't give up any young talent.
Closer?
Because they're not there. Hensley or Hensley, right? It's Hensley or Hensley. Yeah, but you don't want to pay for him if you're the Red Sox. You don't want to bring in.
You just
closer.
paid for Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah, and also
your closer.
You're not there.
So is Arenado worth coming in here?
No, Arenado's not. Now, here's why. Arenado, there's a couple things that now annoy me about him. I love Nolan Arenado. He is a great clubhouse guy. He's a hard worker. He's one of the best third basemen I've ever seen. He used to be. He's declining, and I don't think it's going to get better. And also, it's like enough with you wanting off teams. You signed a big deal with Colorado, and you wanted off, so you went to St. Louis. And St. Louis is willing to trade you because they're playing everyone in their farm system this year. They're admitting it. For the first time in my lifetime, they're saying, we're just going to play the farm system, which is, I'm not positive why the Red Sox didn't do that. If they were tanking anyway, why they didn't just call kids up and just see what happened, give them time and to see what they had. That's the strategy that they're going to do now that, they traded Edman, the Goldschmidt's a free agent. You don't want him, at all.
And I don't want to move. Excuse me. I'm one of those guys. I don't want to move Devers to first because
you could get Contreras to be your DH.
Easy. But you got Yoshida.
Yeah, right. I'm saying
maybe Heim trades for Yoshida.
The two
right?
players that I can think of off the the three other than the closer, the two positional players I can think of is they would trade Contreras and they're gonna trade Arenado. Arenado's been declining offensively. He doesn't hit for a lot of power anymore, and what are you gonna just want a good fielding third baseman who's willing to move to first? I think the Yankees are gonna get him. And I think the Yankees are going to get him, and I think the Yankees might play him first. Rizzo played first for them, right?
Yeah, they're looking for somebody to play first.
I think they might put him at first.
Greg Bird and all those guys.
And he'll hit eighth in the lineup,
Yep.
And that will be what it is.
So I would rather get another starting pitcher in here, Fred. I want a veteran pitcher, free agent, whatever. I'll take your list of the second tier.
Yeah.
But then I also want another young starter here, and I'll make a trade, whether it be Casas going to Seattle, Casas going to San Diego as part of the
But that's
deal.
a depth charter. Well, the Cease deal. Okay, so you do want to trade for another top-end starter.
Yeah, why not? If you can. If you're not going to drain the system.
That makes me very nervous.
It depends on what you have.
That makes me very nervous to bring in two top-end starters. The way the game is in these guys' arms, it makes me very nervous to do it the same year. Makes me very nervous.
All right, but if you're telling me you can get Teoscar Hernandez and Jack Flaherty for depth in this rotation,
bingo.
That's not a bad.
Done.
That would help.
Okay, but if Flaherty stops you from doing something next offseason, I don't want Jack Flaherty. There's a reason Jack Flaherty gets traded at every deadline. Flaherty gets traded at every and the Tigers traded Flaherty and they went further in the playoffs than they probably would have with him. So, Flaherty is a good pitcher. I don't think Flaherty's a great pitcher. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So that's where we're at. If you're wondering where Cedric Maxwell is, so are we. He's not around. All right, so we'll be back. Dan, how long do you think Dan's game is going to take?
We can do it in this. I'll come back with the intro. We can do it in this next segment.
Dan has gone over. He's gone above and beyond what he had to do. He has come up with the game. He asked me a series of questions that I got back to him about. I don't know what the game is, but we will have it. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headline.
Time for the John and Fred game, where today we find out how well Fred knows John and John knows Fred, or they don't.
All right.
Dan Roach, I'm here to give a quiz and have some fun. And why? Because it's Christmas. Yeah, and everyone's in a good mood because it's Christmas. Yeah. Now we're going back to nostalgic baseball music, which is great because Garrett Crochet is a member of the Red Sox, and everybody's happy.
I can't believe I interrupted that. I'm so sorry, Dan.
It's all right. Ready?
All right, we're Toucher and Hardy. Dan's here for Hardy, hence the good mood. Brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. All right, Dan, I take it this is a match game situation between John and I. I know what you asked me. I'm sure you asked John the same thing.
Yes,
my question is, how long have you guys been working together?
15
how long
years.
have you known each other?
15 years.
15 years.
Did not
15
know
years.
him before I started this job. 15 years.
20 hours a week for 15 years, talking in between pretty much every break.
Let's see how you two do.
All right.
All right, simple questions that I asked each of you secretly, and now
I answered mine from a sauna.
Yeah. Oh, did you really?
Oh, hey now.
Don't worry about it.
All right, let's begin with a question about Fred for John. John, Fred's all-time favorite movie is, and I'll give you one of three if you can get it correct.
Goodfellas.
That is absolutely correct. That's my favorite movie. I'm very boring.
I love it. I don't care who knows it.
I'm very boring. Goodfellas is my favorite movie.
Fred, John's all-time favorite movie. Give me one of three.
Well, it's certainly not The Birds. He feels that was not good for his culture. No, John's favorite movie. Oh, God, I know John's favorite movie. I hate games like this. My brain sucks.
Okay.
I know. I do the same thing. You lock up a little bit.
I know John's favorite movie.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Can you give a multiple choice on this one?
No, but it's great. No. Well, is one of them an action film?
It sounds like
yes.
Kid Night Fun.
Yes.
Oh, Fast and Furious. One of the Fast and Furious.
Nope. Sounds like Kid Night.
Didn't make the top.
Sounds like Kid Night Fun.
Midnight Run, Fred.
All right, fine, whatever.
Woo!
He does love the Fast and Furious.
There was
films.
a Terminator movie in there. Fast and Furious.
I was going to say Predator might have been one of them.
Close enough.
Moving on. All right, Fred. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to
feel
play.
bad. Okay.
Fred's favorite TV show of all time.
Oh God! I mean, he Breaking Bad. I know he watched to completion.
Give me one of
liked
three.
a lot. I'll say Breaking Bad.
Nope.
All right.
No.
New Girl.
No, that's not. You're not wrong, but
New
it's not
Girl,
one of
The
three of them.
Office.
Go ahead.
You're not wrong, but it wasn't on my list.
I think you should leave. I mean, there are a bunch of them.
Let's ask Adam. Name all three.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Correct.
Family Guy.
Correct.
And was the third one mentioned already?
No.
No, Kramer.
Oh, Seinfeld.
Yeah, Adam got all three.
All right.
I've known Adam longer than you.
I'm in love. I don't care who knows it.
I've known Adam longer than you. That is
John's
fair.
all-time favorite TV shows. Give me one of three, Fred.
Is it ending today?
No.
It's not Blue Bloods?
No. That's mine.
No.
And NCIS.
Okay, John's favorite, because John watches a lot of sports. What has John's favorite TV shows?
One's got a Boston theme.
Cheers.
Hey, there we go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, there you go. Don't give them away so much, Danny.
All right, sorry, you got aggravated with this game, so I was just trying to help you. All right,
Who's
let's go.
aggravated?
I don't know.
I'm aggravated at my brain. I'm not aggravated at you. I'm aggravated that I'm a moron.
What is Fred's favorite vacation spot?
Oh, that's easy. Tellico Village, Tennessee.
Well, that's fair. He got it. He got what you asked anyway. Yeah,
I'm in love, and I don't care who knows it.
He asked my favorite vacation spot, which I didn't even know, and then he asked where my parents lived, and it's Tellico Village.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I know John's. It's it's Hawaii.
Nope.
Oh, Jesus
Not
Christ.
Hawaii. Nope.
That where you honeymoon? You talk about that
I do,
constantly.
but there's another place I talked about too that I look and the question was if I could live anywhere, where would I live? And it was a different spot.
If you could live anywhere, you'd live in Seattle?
Close, Vancouver.
Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about that.
Fred, I think you were just so whacked out on Guitar Fest and everything else that you don't remember all these conversations you had with John.
No. Hawaii's a great guest.
Hawaii is a good guest, and you know what? I didn't include it in the top 3. I actually forgot to put it in there. Vancouver would have been number 1, and Hawaii would have been number 2.
Okay, because John had a beautiful, beautiful
2-week honeymoon.
Yep. This one I even knew. Fred's favorite all-time band.
Oh, that's a Descendants.
Oh, see, that was good. That was good. All right, let's go right back at you.
I love it. I don't care who knows it.
Yeah, Freddie, your all-time favorite band for John.
Ooh.
Or musician, because it's a singular.
Okay, so you're giving Prince.
Hey! Wow,
I love it. I don't care who knows it.
You really don't know each other well. I'm very happy. This is making me happy. See, this is what we're all about.
How many points do we get? Do we advance to the finals here? What happened?
So far, John has 3, Fred has 2, so...
Okay.
John, think about this, and he's mentioned it several times in the last several months. Fred's all-time favorite meal for 100.
This is hard.
No, it isn't. Think about it, though.
It is hard. It's regional.
Yeah. Where's he traveled to? Recently. Thanksgiving.
Dan's dancing like a moron.
What are you doing?
Thanksgiving. Where did he travel to?
Don't give it away that much.
You say, I don't know.
I'm going to steal this one if John can't get it.
Adam's going to know all this.
Yes.
This is one of those times where my brain is locking up. Adam, you take this. I can't think about it.
Coney Island in Detroit.
Oh, Detroit, of course.
Absolutely.
This one you're never going to
Island,
get, Fred. This one was stupid from John.
I should have known
It's
that.
John's favorite meal.
Oh, I don't. I have absolutely no idea what John's favorite meal is.
What kind of answer was that? Think Bubba Gump. Who would say that?
Yeah.
Wait,
Shrimp.
It is shrimp.
Who would say that?
Oh, okay.
No. Shrimp's my favorite meal. Shrimp scampi is my favorite meal.
I like shrimp scampi too.
Yeah.
I had no idea that.
No, we haven't talked about that.
Johnny, can you answer this? If Fred wasn't doing radio, he'd probably be doing what?
He'll never get
a psychiatrist.
Yeah, he's got experience.
I'm in love it. I don't care who knows it.
What would it be?
I don't know. Well,
he's never
a baseball coach. I don't know.
Fred?
I wouldn't mind that. Do you have a guess, Adam?
You've always said that you would go into but this was 10, 15 years ago, so you might be at a different point in your life now. You said you'd always go into some sort of advertising agency job like that.
Crap.
Is what you is that correct?
Yes.
Whoa!
I'm in love. I don't care who knows it.
12. Good job.
I think we should end the game there because I won with 4 points.
Stalker, you got some.
I knew Adam was going to know all my things. If I would be in advertising. I would be a copywriter in advertising, and I would be a failed comedian. I would be going out and doing stand up and failing
live in
miserably.
Chicago, go do some stand up around there.
I'd be like at Second City and then doing
Fred?
advertising. Go ahead.
If John's wife could star in a movie, what kind of movie would it be on what channel?
All right, that's too obvious. It's obviously would be on Pornhub. No, it's a that's of course Hallmark, and of course it would be a. I'm in love, and I don't care who.
By the way, your favorite athlete, which is one of the
Who is
questions,
it?
I would have said Altoon.
That's fair. Who else if it's not Altoon? A different sport.
The Wizard?
Ozzie Smith.
Yeah, Ozzie
the
Smith.
Hall of Famer.
Who's mine?
Okay, yours is.
What's
is
his handle?
Is it Pedro Martinez?
No.
Twitter?
Butch Hobson.
His handle? With the bone chips in his elbow.
Don't blow it for him.
Am I in the right?
Where's the music?
Am I in the right sport?
What was your guess again?
Pedro Martinez.
You are in the correct sport. Yes.
Okay, so it's earlier than that.
Correct position, John?
No.
No? Because I would have guessed Louis Tiant.
No.
No, that's too old. But is
1989
it
rookie
Jim
card.
Rice?
1989 rookie card, Fred. Think. Come on. Here we go.
Oh, 1989 rookie card?
One of those valuable out there. Used to be.
Okay, Griffey Jr.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. How did I not think of that?
Griffey or Larry Bird. Those are the two I gave Dan.
Thanks
yeah,
for playing.
Ken Griffey Jr.
We'll be right back.
How the
with
hell
Kendall
did I not
Middleton.
know that? That's
and
my
I hope
brain.
you're enjoying your Friday out there, everyone.
All right, Dan's here. He's really taking over. All right, Kendra Middleton will be in just a moment.
You're listening. Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Bruins continued their road trip with another blowout loss late last night in Seattle, 5-1 to the Kraken. The Bruins were down 2-0 in the first 5 minutes and never got up off the deck after that. They visit Vancouver tomorrow night. They're 0-2 on a 5-game road trip. As for the Celtics, they didn't have Jason Tatum last night, but it didn't matter. They beat Detroit 123-99 at TD Garden. Peyton Pritchard, 7 threes. He scored 27 points. Derek White, 7 threes. He scored 23. Celtics are 20-5. They're off till Sunday night when they visit the Washington Wizards. Patriots got Marcus Jones back at practice yesterday as they continue to get ready for a road game against Arizona on Sunday. Javon Baker remains in concussion protocol. He sat out again yesterday, along with defensive lineman Jaquelin Roy and defensive back Jalen Hawkins. Bill Belichick was introduced as the new head football coach at North Carolina yesterday. The LA Rams beat San Francisco last night 12-6, and the Miami Dolphins will release Odell Beckham Jr. today. Sports Hub headlines are driven by the Albrecht Auto Group, Zoe's Auto Dealer. Get respect at Albrecht with 7 locations and thousands of new and pre-owned vehicles. Get the right vehicle at the right price now at albrechtauto.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's Home for Sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5 The Sports Hub. What's the best way to listen to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Is this the Scotalites?
No, it's the Ethiopians. It's that first wave stuff.
Well, Scotalites are first wave.
Yeah.
Every time it's first wave, I just go Scotalites.
Yeah.
All right. We are Toucher and Hardy. Danny Roach is here as we limp into, with Danny, we limp into our breaks. And we are
like
here.
A power hour.
Let me just do this. It really is. Everyone knows I love Danny. He's my first choice. He's the guy I want to do it with. I'll be listening.
Thanks, Fred.
Sometime this hour for your chance to score a $100 gift card to Arcadia Professional Body Piercing, offering an incredible selection of jewelry from implant-grade titanium to 14 and 18 karat solid gold with genuine gemstones. Gift cards are great for the holidays and available online at arcadiabodypiercing.com. Kendra Middleton is our good friend, and I have not seen her in a too long, Kendra, too long.
It's been a while.
Yes. I'll text Kendra now, and she will not text me back for several
You big
hours.
timing him?
Wow. No, he did text me, and we talked about what I was doing off the air, but I was in a situation where I could not text him back. Or it would have been rude.
What were you doing?
I was out on maybe a date. Maybe.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh, how about that?
But I think that if
didn't text you back, that means successful. Good for you.
I think that if I text her, no matter what she's doing, even mid-coitus, I'm not saying that happened, but I'm saying in mid-coitus, she looks, because she's always aware where her phone is.
Oh, God, yes.
I think if I text her, I think that I immediately I should get a text back. And I think the gentleman would understand.
Yeah, I think the correct
if you
phrase,
said it was from Fred.
The correct phrase is, Kendra, I'm happy things went well.
Thank you. We'll see.
Just text him back and then. Not now, Fred.
Well, so I don't have an Apple Watch anymore, so I don't know when I get so.
Kendra, I don't believe that your phone is not always within your vision.
Sometimes Dan Lifshots has been getting on to me about getting off of my phone more, so I have been trying to.
Take Dan's advice on anything.
I will take Dan's advice on 2 things. Probably getting off my phone more because he's right, and sometimes he can talk me into a bet.
Okay, yeah, well, betting, yes. Betting, I would imagine. He's right at least 25% of the time. Kendra is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook.
I see what you did there. I need Hardy with the wah, wah.
All right, so stop that. You're not allowed to do that. Kendra will be co-hosting with Hardy She will be co-hosting with Hardy coming up. And did you hear me support you during that when we talked about it on air?
I did not. When was this? I did hear that you made fun of me for how I say party people, though.
No, I did not.
No, that was a Hardy deal.
Oh, that was Hardy?
Yeah.
Well, I find that it's because I'm a woman and there are not a ton of us here, it is the only way to gender neutrally, woke, whatever, say like, what's up, instead of being like, sup, effers. I can't say that. This is like the more professional
Why don't
way
you
to
say,
do that.
I think sup effort. Well, first of all, you don't
gender
have to,
neutral.
You don't have to say, huh? What? Okay, walk me through what's going on.
Well, instead of just saying like, I feel like everybody says, hey guys, or what's up guys, or things like that, and it's like, I can't do that.
Why not?
Because I got to be inclusive, baby.
I don't say what's up, guys.
But a lot of people do, like, and I want to separate myself from people. And everybody parties. I party, you party, Wallach parties. Everybody's a party person.
I really am huge, a big partier. Who, Kendra, if you could emulate anyone's career in Boston?
In Boston.
Who do you take, like, who do you hear or see where you go, like, that's someone that I look up to?
I don't really know if there's someone that I look up.
But you not look up to, that's the wrong thing. Like, that person's doing it right.
Can I say I want to be the sports Alex Cooper?
Who's Alex Cooper?
They'll call her Daddy Girl. She went to BC.
That would be good.
Yeah, she went to BC.
Yeah, you could be a billionaire.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah.
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 I don't want to talk about,
she's
throwing
got one
my
of the
cat
two-
around and stuff, but like I could do that with sports.
She's one of the two people that make a lot of money doing podcasts that deserve it.
And she went to BC, so I feel like that counts.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that a good answer?
No, because she's not a Boston person. She's a national person.
Well, she's from here.
Yeah. But I'm saying in Boston media.
Someone who works locally, who maybe is on the air every day.
Maybe Trenny.
Okay, for real, she's very political.
Well, yeah, but Trenny and I
I love Trenny.
Trenny and I have chatted about politics a few times.
Me and Trenny get along famously.
I love Trenny.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Trenny and I get along
Trenny's
famously.
a big fan of this show.
She's kind of my goat.
This incarnation of the show. Yes. But yeah, Trenny and I get along very well. So Trenny, she gets political.
Yeah, okay.
Is that something you're interested in?
I mean, not on this show. I feel like your listeners would probably rip my hair out and let me on fire.
Well, also there's like, do you care about politics?
I care about politics in my private life. I really don't want to get into politics.
Who for city council in whatever city you live in?
Oh, here we go. He's trying to cancel me, guys.
No.
Fred's trying to get me canceled.
You know who you should listen to about politics is that Lifshitz.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot going on behind the scenes that you don't know about. That's his theory, right?
Lift shots. Well, I did tell him he put a tinfoil hat on our show last week, and he told me he doesn't use tinfoil because it's bad for you.
Oh,
So
yeah, look at him. He's gonna live forever.
He acts like he's anti-woke, but Lift shots is the definition of woke.
Explain.
Because he hates all the the
black people.
No. The way that people use words to describe things now, but he's like anti-hormones in food, anti-government, he wears his like yellow light glasses all the time. Oh, he has red light therapy that he put red lights into his house.
Yeah.
Dan is woke.
Jesus. You notice how Dan's putting all these things into his house. What he does for a living, we'll never know. All right, I love busting Dan's balls. But why does he wear yellow tinted glasses?
Because he thinks that it helps like filter the light on your phone and computer and stuff like that.
And what would happen if you don't filter that light?
You probably get cancer like everything else.
He believes that the light from the phone will give you cancer?
I think that's what Dan believes.
Is that true? Is there a doctor? Is that true, Adam? Is that the light from your phone will give you cancer?
Yeah, I don't think it's true that it will give you cancer. I think long-term exposure to any of the light coming from your computer or phone is not great for you, but I don't think the solution is wearing silly glasses. I think the solution is get off your phone.
What if you wore blue blockers?
No, now listen, what was the guy's name? Doctor?
I don't know. He rapped very poorly.
Yes.
Didn't they just find like something that's genetic? Like they found like a chromosome or a gene. They've isolated it that makes you more, that they can almost predict if you're susceptible to certain kinds of cancer.
I don't know, but I'm sure that that's a thing.
I have to go listen to some
Everything
more podcasts.
gives you cancer.
Okay,
Well, that's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, it's like you can protect yourself so much, but it almost seems that, like, if you're... I know there is a genetic element to it.
Aren't sharks like the only animals that can't get cancer? I think.
We really got to get up our podcast game.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You guys are not woke enough.
We need a good hour and a half podcast to become an expert on something.
Biggest insult of the morning right there.
There you go.
Not woke enough.
You just got to start eating steak and sweet potatoes, and that's it. That's the Dan Lifshatz diet.
Really?
Yeah.
Has he lost a
And
tremendous
blueberries,
amount?
I think. Dan looks good. Dan has
He
lost
does.
probably like 150 plus pounds.
Whoa!
Wow.
No, I'm not even kidding.
That's
You
great.
guys haven't seen Dan?
No.
Oh my God.
See Dan.
You guys, Dan has lost probably close to 200 pounds.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I heard him. Was it a week ago Sunday?
Saturday, yeah. Us on the air.
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah.
At like 6
Yeah,
o'clock
Dan
and
has
whatever.
probably lost almost 200
He
pounds.
sounded like
Good for him. He sounded light. He sounded light on his feet. So Dan's attractive, you're saying?
No.
Okay.
Love you mean it, Dan, but no.
You're saying no matter how much weight he loses, he's still not attractive.
I love you, Daniel. Absolutely not. Not even if there was a fire.
I didn't say if you hook up with him. I just asked if he was attractive.
Even if there was a fire.
Even if the world was
What does
ending
that
and we were
mean?
going
Have
down
you
in
not
a
seen
plane.
Step Brothers?
Yes.
I'm not calling
Okay.
him Dad.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, listen, Kendra, we are going to go around the NFL as we tend to do with Kendra when she comes in on these days. And he did it sweet potatoes and steak.
Yeah, he's doing like sweet potato steak, but he's basically doing like I think the carnivore diet with organic blueberries, pretty much.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you eat protein and low carb, and
Yeah,
all that,
Dan and I eat very similarly these days.
But you have
Is it the
most-
Outback sweet potato? With the marshmallow and the cinnamon butter and everything else?
Cinnamon.
Dan, do you know that most food is poison to Kendra? That her body is
Outback
so
special?
compromised. Her body is so compromised that she cannot eat many, many foods.
No,
is that not correct?
it's just that I eat out with restaurants so often that I only bring like paleo or modified paleo things in my house.
But
Otherwise, I
there's-
would be 500 pounds.
But there's dyes and stuff that you
I
can't
am
have in your
allergic
body.
to Red 40.
Red 40, which is in like everything,
Yeah,
right?
My wife will only eat things that there's like 3
But this is
ingredients.
she'll die.
yeah.
She'll die if she has Red 40.
I will, yeah.
Why?
How did you find out
the
you were
spider
allergic
thing?
to that?
Because
I
she
had a seizure.
Yeah, she had a seizure.
When you attacked
I'll
by
show you
spiders
pictures.
in your house?
Kendra's
I
missing.
see that.
I forgot we were together for that. Yeah. No, I've eaten this way for probably like 10 years now. And then one Halloween during COVID, I was like, well, we're all going to die probably. So I might as well have a Halloween cookie. Full-blown anaphylaxis, like to the hospital.
Jesus.
Yeah. But I will
no
show you
idea.
pictures of me post-seizure if you want to see them.
I
They're
have
actually
seen
kind
them.
of funny.
She's all puffed up.
Yeah. It's
Really?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty bad.
Oh, yes, then I do want to see
Okay,
that.
I'll show you. I'll show you during the break.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of you without front teeth. I've seen.
Well,
a bunch
Kendra's
Yeah.
missing stuff in her body.
Yeah.
Kendra's
Yes.
missing all kinds of
I know
stuff in her
it's like
body.
a bone, right? That's not there.
I don't have a gallbladder. I have cow bone holding my face together.
Right,
I've,
I knew that.
I've broken 25 plus bones.
Yeah. She throws herself around.
I'm just really uncoordinated.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what she says. I'm
No,
trying to get to the bottom of it.
I don't
but
need
she
the
won't
rest
let
of it.
me know.
I just need the bloating picture. That's
Okay.
Let's see
I
that.
also have a picture that I'll show you when I got my wisdom teeth taken out where I look like a hamster. So
Okay.
I'll put these on Twitter.
I will say
Okay.
this, and people are going to get like, and they're going to be like, oh, Fred loves Kendra. The picture of her when she's getting her dental surgery is like adorable. She's got this big dumb look on her face, and she's missing a tooth, like a big hick. And I like love that photo so much.
Where did she grow up? I mean, come on.
It's true.
No, but it's funny
She's a
because
hick. Yeah.
she's got this, because you'd think she's having dental surgery, she'd be in a bad mood. But she has this
No,
look
yeah.
of pure joy on her face. They're putting cow bones in her, and she's missing her front tooth. I find
I've
that
seen-
photo.
I've seen that photo.
I find that photo absolutely adorable. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm going to get a lot of hate stuff, but it's true. I
This
do.
one's for you. My dad and my brother both play the banjo. So
In Deliverance?
In her father,
Foggy Mountain Breakdown at dinner.
her father, and many members of her family, big fans of vintage pornography.
yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
And Kendra was featured in Playboy, which was a big like fu to her father. Not
true.
nude,
This is
but
Kendra on
No,
her
no.
front porch.
I heard he did call my brother, and my brother hung up on him about
Good.
yeah, Kendra's
Good.
Kendra's dad's kind of a dick.
it. Kind of.
Yeah, he's a dick.
You've checked all the hick boxes. You've done very well.
Yep, you can add the daddy issues right there. Check
Jesus.
mark, baby.
But her
Yes,
mother,
sir.
who's listening right now, is a fantastic woman who Kendra couldn't speak more highly of.
What's her name?
Deidre. Kenneth and Deidre had Kendra, and now they hate each other. It's poetry.
Deidre.
Yeah. My mom's the best. She loves this show.
She would love Rochi.
She does love this show.
Would love Rochi.
She's not.
My mom would love you.
Do you have an oxygen mask?
Do you have an oxy? Do
She's
you have
just
oxy?
like you.
Dan's really going through withdrawals. Do you have oxy?
No, I did get sent some CBD gummies in the back this morning, though, if you want those.
And if you can eat as many as you want, and they'll do nothing.
I gave some to Jameli.
Yeah.
But my
Nick,
mom
of
is
course
just
you
like
did.
you. Happy-go-lucky, just happy to be here.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Deidre,
So-
I like you.
Yeah.
She have
So
an oxygen
maybe
mask
that's
on,
someone-
in a wheelchair and play bingo?
Not yet.
That's who usually
Oh.
likes.
Not in my demo then.
Slots at the
No,
casino?
she hates the casino, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I took her up
Oh,
to...
that's anti.
I took her up to one of the casinos in New Hampshire last time she was here. She did the free play thing, and she lost her $20 in 2 minutes, and she was like, this sucks. I want to go home.
Oh, and that was the whole retirement saving. All right, caller number 10 at the contest line 617-931-0985 will score. I mean, they are very rural people.
Right.
617-931-0985 will score a $100 gift card from Arcadia Professional Body Piercing.
I have my ears pierced. Nothing else. Sorry to disappoint.
Get your nose pierced. It would be cool. Offering an incredible. I want Zoe to. Offering an incredible selection of jewelry from implant grade titanium to 14 and 18 karat solid gold with genuine gemstones. Gift cards are great for the holidays and available online at arcadiabodypiercing.com. We will be back. We will go around the NFL. Kendra's got a bunch of bets. She's been hot, very hot this year, and we will have all that for you in just a moment.
where the 12-1 Lions faced the 10-3 Buffalo Bills. Dan Campbell's teams won 11 in a row. They escaped Green Bay with a 34-31 win their last time out.
I think, I've mentioned this before, I think we do well with pressure, and it's the right kind of friction and stress that we need, and it's motivating. And so, yeah, I love it. I think it's great.
Buffalo lost in L.A. to the Rams 44-42 in the game of the year in the league their last time out. Lions have clinched a playoff spot in consecutive years for the first time in 3 decades. They're 2.5-point favorites as of last night. This could be the Super Bowl in a couple of months.
I think that this is definitely the game of the week. That's not a hot take, but I'm rocking with the Bills to cover these points. I think it's a great spot for them. Josh Allen off of a loss, gotta hit it. The Lions are kind of due for a win. I think you're finally starting to see the holes in the defense where they've been injured. I think that this is Bills or nothing. And it's in a dome. They don't have to worry about weather. It's not that far of a trip. I think that this truly is Bills or nothing.
Is it worth betting Josh Allen to win MVP at this point or not?
Probably not. I would go with no. But if you're looking for, you just love Josh Allen right now, him to score an anytime touchdown, probably a decent bet this week.
Yeah, Detroit's defense is decimated. They're getting healthy. What have they lost, Kendra? Like 12? Maybe over 12.
They got, I
Anzalone should be back in a couple of weeks, and then obviously they're not anybody else's.
There are 13 Lions on injured reserve at the moment.
I think that they're going to be really careful, obviously. And I don't think this game means a tremendous amount. It's out of the conference. I don't
means
think
everything to the Bills, huh?
I think
that was
it means
such a bad loss last week.
But they're locked up. Like the Bills know where they're going to be in the playoffs. In Detroit, this whole notion that Detroit desperately needs this number 1 seed, I think, is not true. And this isn't a conference game. I'm with Kendra. I love Detroit, but I think Buffalo. I think Buffalo wins this game outright. Go ahead.
It means more for the Lions, though. The Vikings are right there.
If you have the Lions,
they're not losing that division.
If you have the Lions and an Eagle, and the Eagles in a pick'em, and the game's in Philadelphia, where are you putting your money?
Right now, probably on Philly. For sure. Especially, I have a play to give out in that game whenever we get to it, but there's been some drama surrounding them. I expect the Eagles to roll this week.
We're going to get to them, not right this second.
I'll tell you this, is that what Kendra says is what I hear. That's conventional wisdom. I think that the whatever elements are in Philadelphia will not affect the Lions' offense at all. There's this notion that Goff can't play outside. Again, they beat Green Bay in a torrential downpour on a terrible, messed up field, and they beat Green Bay. And Goff and Love was totally phased by the elements, and Goff was not.
The running game helps. The running back tandem helps. Helps a lot in weather like that.
They can beat you in a million ways offensively. Now, and in fact, the weather might help the Lions because it slows down Philadelphia's offense.
Yep.
And then A.J. Brown can bitch about it. Go ahead.
So we'll get to Philadelphia in a moment, but I want to start here the next time out with Denver. The last time the Denver Broncos in the playoffs, Fred, 2015. But against all odds, they're 8-5. They have a hold of the final playoff spot in the AFC. Indianapolis is 2 games back. They're in 8th in the AFC. They visit Denver on Sunday. A loss and the Colts are all but done from the playoff race. But fear not, Anthony Richardson is extra prepared coming out of his bye week.
The guys told me to take some time off, but it was the next day I hit Coach Shane up. I was like, man, I know it's a bye week, but what you got on Denver? And I was trying to get as much information as I could, ahead of the week. So when they did come back, for us to come back here, it was a little easier for me to get back into the routine.
Bo Nix, by the way, leads all rookie quarterbacks in completions, passing yards, and passing touchdowns. But Denver, 8-5. A chance to make the playoffs this year. A very good chance to make the playoffs this year.
Just quickly, and we'll get to Kendra. I think this game is more interesting than the Buffalo-Detroit game. Again, like John said, if Indianapolis loses, they're out of the playoffs. Denver has been surprising. That last seed in the AFC is up for grabs. That's like a playoff game, in my opinion. I find that more compelling. Kendra, do you have any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, this is the time of year where some games don't matter and some do. It depends what teams are playing for draft and what teams are playing for spoiler type of thing. I think it depends on your players and your coach. I will say I am cheering for Denver so hard because Dan and I both have Bo Nix Rookie of the Year odds 18-1. But I do think that
Yes, that's what I have.
Anthony Richardson's confidence has climbed the last couple of games, though. I think that them benching him has really helped.
So terrible.
I think Indy's so bad. I love Denver.
Anthony Richardson is awful.
Yes. Denver's kind of inconsistent outside of the defense, though. You never really know what you're going to get from Bo Nix.
I don't think Indy's very good.
He looks like Jesus Christ, or he doesn't. That's where I'm at. Yeah.
He's a thin man with long hair.
He's a big kid.
Well, you said he looks like Jesus.
I mean,
Bo Nix is a big kid.
I'm aware of the size.
We're sailing.
I was making a poor joke.
Okay, well.
It was my attempt at humor.
My
that
hair
failed.
color is natural.
No, I think the joke just sucked. Go ahead.
Let's move on then.
My joke sucked.
What are you looking at me for?
You went, oh, like I
I
insulted.
was just like, yeah, I thought of something. I went, oh, I wasn't looking at you.
What'd you think of?
I don't know.
What's going on?
What kind of dolt are you? You think of something? What does a
what
light
is
bulb
happening?
appear
No,
above your head?
I did it to aggravate you, and it worked perfectly. That's all.
I don't believe that.
I do.
I think you literally thought of something. Went, oh.
No, I went, oh, because I knew the reaction I would get from you, and I did. Thank you.
Go ahead.
That's not true at all. The Houston Texans host Miami during the early window on Sunday, and despite a major step back for quarterback C.J. Stroud in his second season, they can clinch the AFC South by winning this game and having Indianapolis lose to Denver.
The powerful AFC South.
Now, since his return from that bad-looking concussion in Week 8, Tua Tagovailoa has led all quarterbacks in completion percentage. He's completing almost three-quarters of his passes.
But in the face of a lot. He dropped back 47 times against the Jets, and they hit him. None. They didn't hit him.
Yeah, not a scratch.
Not a set. No, I'm not talking about sacks. They did not hit him. Go ahead.
All right. He's more worried, though, Fred, about off-the-field stuff right now after Joe Burrow's house got broken into last week.
I have personal security. My house had gotten broken into, not necessarily my house, but one of my cars. It's a little too close for my comfort with my family being in the house. So we got personal security to take care of all of that when we're on the road. We got someone with my wife, got someone also at the house, surveying the house. So just to let that be known, they are armed. So I hope if you decide to go to my house, you think twice.
Okay.
All right, pussy.
All right.
You need an armed guard? Why don't you handle him with your hands?
Oh, my God. Well, if someone just taps him, he's going to fall down and get into the... We don't want that to happen either.
Learn Kung Fu.
Well, I will say this about Tua. Regardless of the concussions, he's playing really well. He's thrown for 300 yards or more in 3 straight games. He's the first quarterback ever to have at least 40 pass attempts, multiple touchdown passes, and no interceptions in 3 straight games as well. Where are you leaning?
This is the fraud bowl for me. I think both of these teams are fraudulent. I don't think either of them have any chance at sniffing a Super Bowl. That being said, I do think the Texans are the better team, but this is a bit of a look-ahead spot for them. The Dolphins have the 49ers on deck, which you could have argued in previous years that that's a look-ahead spot, but the Texans' remaining schedule is way harder. So I lean Dolphins here, not a personal play from me. Texans are at the Chiefs, home against the Ravens, and then they finish out against a divisional opponent in the Titans. I think that this might be too much of a look-ahead for them.
Isn't this
here.
almost a must-win, though, for them?
No, not really.
No.
They're going to win the AFC South no matter what.
It's a must-win for Miami, and I like Miami a lot in this game, too. I don't know what the deal with the Texans is, and I just think Miami's going to outscore them. And that I don't know what the deal with Houston is. What is the deal with C.J. Stroud in that offense?
I think that he just had too much hype going into the year. Every single national talking head going into this season was C.J. Stroud MVP, Texans Super Bowl, all this stuff, and they had one good season. People got way too hyped on that train.
All right, what else,
Yet
Jonathan?
Houston is going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's
well,
amazing.
the southern divisions of every conference are outstanding.
All right, let's get to the Eagles. We were talking about them before. The 10-3 Pittsburgh Steelers visit 11-2 Philadelphia this week. The Eagles have spent this week trying to squash an apparent feud between quarterback Jalen Hurts and wide receiver A.J. Brown. Hurts says there's no problem.
BG, just being BG, he's emotional. In that case, he just misspoke. Me and Jalen are good. Everybody loves BG. He's speaking from the heart. He's just giving his perception of something from the outside.
Philadelphia, despite all of this, still enters the game with 9 straight wins. They'll clinch the division with another victory here. Saquon Barkley, the other MVP candidate, needs 483 yards rushing over his final 4 games to break Eric Dickerson's single-season record. The Steelers, not to be overlooked, have won 7 out of 8 coming into this one.
I am not picking a side here. You're not going to get me to go against Mike Tomlin in this situation, but I will say because of all the drama, I do feel like A.J. Brown's going to be targeted quite a bit, so I'm going with A.J. Brown anytime touchdown plus 125.
Yeah, they need to get him back.
Me and every gambler are on A.J. Brown to hell this week.
By the way, Jalen Hurts has a problem with everybody. I love Pittsburgh in this spot.
Did you see the... have you watched the Hard Knocks inside the NFC North yet, the in-season?
No.
Tomlin's the big star,
Just
right?
watch, the first episode. Yeah. It looks like that's what you want from Gerard Mayo. Granted, he's been in the year, 17 years, Tomlin, but there's a great situation with the linebacker where he basically tells him during the week, you're going to go up against Orlando Brown. It's going to be you against him. You've got to come up with some type of play. And all of a sudden, it's tightened the game, and Tomlin's like, this is where it's going to happen. And you watch, and boom, the kid makes the play, and the whole sideline goes crazy. That's what I want Gerard Mayo to be, like that kind of defensive genius type of guy, saying where guys should be, what they need to do, how the matchups are.
I don't know if
I hope that evolves into that. But it's a good thing to watch, though.
A tall order to compare to think he's going to be Mike Tomlin.
The game hasn't really slowed down for Gerard yet.
Mike Tomlin's
all right, give him time,
Hall of Fame
John.
coach, a first ballot Hall of Fame coach.
All right. I'm saying that's what I wish.
That
that's
spread
all.
seems crazy. Which probably means I'm wrong. It's the Philadelphia is given 5.5. I really like Pittsburgh in that game. I think Pittsburgh could win that game.
Moneyline's plus 205.
I think
Pittsburgh close.
I think Pittsburgh has the better quarterback. Pittsburgh certainly has the better coach.
Better quarterback.
I think that Russell Wilson this year is better than Jalen Hurts.
I think that you, as Tony Maserati would say, are on crack.
So just because I
Russell
smoke
Wilson
crack
didn't even
doesn't
play half the year, and he's the better quarterback.
Since he's been playing, I think Russell Wilson's better than Jalen Hurts.
They're so boring to watch, though. Pittsburgh.
They are
so boring
outside of
to
Freiermuth
watch.
Oh,
and Pickens.
He throws a floater ball, Russell Wilson.
Yes.
And I think he's a total dork, but he throws a floater ball that only he can do. You just wait until you hear the analysis of the game. Go ahead.
All right, one more game to get to. Fresh from giving Detroit a run for their money, the Green Bay Packers are going to be in Seattle on Sunday night. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur says this has big game possibilities.
It should be an electric environment. I think it's going to be important for us to make sure that we can control the things that we're totally in control of, and that's just our ability to prepare for a football game, a really good team. It's going to be a playoff type atmosphere.
The Seahawks have seen a changing of the guard at wide receiver this season. Jackson Smith and Jigba now has more catches, yards, and touchdowns than DK Metcalf. And you'll also remember how hot Jordan Love got at the end of last season to lead the pack into the playoffs. It's happening again. In his last 4 games, Love leads the NFL in passer rating, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick.
This is probably my too cute play of the week, but I'm going with Seattle here. Whether you like the money line, whether you like them to cover, I think that that's the best play I've got for you, even though it might seem a little crazy. They're playing really good football right now. Their last 4 games are great. Potentially, probably no Kenneth Walker. I think Charbonnet should eat, and his lines definitely depict that. So I'm going with the winning streak, home game for Seattle.
I'm Riversiding here. Seattle's terrible. They're poorly coached. I've seen them. I've watched 2 complete games of theirs this year, and they should have lost to the Jets, and they should have lost to New England.
Definitely should have lost to New England.
And the mistakes that team makes is unbelievable. I think they're beneficiaries of being in another. They're in a terrible division, a division that ended up being terrible, and that's the only reason they're where they're at. I love Green Bay in this game. She knows more than me, so go with her. Go ahead.
One question. Since you're here, and we are the flagship radio station of the Patriots, any plays...
You want to know Jacksonville, New York, the game of the week?
No, yes. That wasn't. Any plays for Patriots, Arizona?
Only because I have an Arizona future writing on this game. No, nothing from me. I do think Arizona wins this game. The number's getting a little big. If it climbs anymore, I might get on the
What is the number right now?
Currently, it is sitting at 6.
All right, Dan, which way are you going?
I don't know.
He can't gamble. He's a journalist.
Oh.
He can't gamble.
Sorry. Wow.
Do you even watch...
Are you trying to get him fired?
Are you going to... Yeah.
No, I just spent time... Fred distracted me.
Masturbation.
I was looking up...
Kendra, do you...
I was looking up Pittsburgh and Philadelphia Hurts versus Wilson. And I'm like kind of thinking like along your line. I hate to say this, but kind of thinking along your lines, Fred. I think
Jalen Hurts is incredibly overrated.
I think there's a lot going on there.
I know there's a lot going on. He wouldn't talk to Sirianni before the season started. I think it's a Jalen Hurts issue. Kendra, this is a question. This is a personal question. Are you going to watch the Jacksonville Jet game?
Oh, absolutely. I have a play.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
All right, what's the play?
So I have Tank for an anytime touchdown plus 140, and then I'm also, this might actually be my craziest play of the week. The Jets love to let up touchdowns against quarterbacks. So Mac Jones, anytime touchdown plus 760. So I'm going to rock with that as probably my craziest play this week.
They do love giving up touchdowns to quarterbacks. There's no question about it. You know, I'm doing gambling today, and I don't know why. You know what? Isaiah Davis anytime touchdown.
Okay.
Because Breece Hall is not going to play. Davis is the backup to the backup. Allen's the kid from Wisconsin that they have, but they have another rookie, Isaiah Davis.
Yeah. Wow.
Isaiah Davis anytime touchdown. I mean, don't put your mortgage on it.
What are the odds on that?
I did it last week, and the odds were insane.
Really?
And he did score a touchdown.
So what do you get back? What do you bet? What do you get back?
I bet $10,000, and I got back $1 million. I got back $100,000.
I was just trying to ask a serious question.
No.
Kendrick, can you address that?
I can if you want me to log into FanDuel, I can. I'll tell you in the break.
Just like if you bet $100, what do you get back?
I don't remember what the odds
$10
were.
or $20.
I don't remember what the odds were.
I need to know what you put down on this.
Yeah,
you
Dan,
said,
that's required information. Go ahead. One more, Kendrick. Whatever you want to say.
I have one last play. I am going to take the Bengals to cover against the Titans. The Bengals season's on the line. I think Joe Burrow would be probably more likely to be in an MVP conversation if his defense was.
His numbers are
unbelievable.
It's been so good for the last 5 weeks.
34 touchdowns, 6 picks, over 3,000
having a career year.
Great.
And
watched
his defense.
Patriots game day last Sunday. My 2 fantasy picks for the week. One of them was bet everything you have on Joe Burrow.
Yep.
He came through.
Joe
That's
Burrow.
on WBZ, Fred. I don't know if you know that at 11:30 on Sunday morning. I'll be in Arizona for that.
Yeah, he's going to Arizona. He was kind enough to come in today.
I need suggestions for movies on the flight.
Oh, okay. I'm not
Besides
a movie.
Elf,
she doesn't watch anything. She
No,
doesn't
I'm not a
consume
movie
pop
person.
culture.
I will watch every football game back before I'll watch a movie.
All right.
But yeah, those are my plays this
Do you
week.
think I see the thing I put on Instagram, the write-up on my son?
No, I didn't.
For the New
I've
England
not been
Baseball
on
Journal?
social much.
Excellent.
Why?
I've been drinking mocktails and going to restaurants.
Kendra, grow up.
I'm sorry.
Every
He just told me to get off my phone, and now he's like, well, did you see what I posted?
I didn't tell you to get off your phone.
Oh, Wallach told me to get off my phone. My bad.
Why everything that's critical about you do you lump on me?
Because usually it is you.
And by the way, hacky stuff with the mic thing every time I'm not here. It's gotten hacked. Let's
All
be
right,
honest.
I'll film a video next time.
I don't care. It's just then don't sit here.
I don't have a choice when there's people in here.
You absolutely have a choice. There's 2 other microphones.
Okay.
I think you sit here just to do that. Kendra bitches about my microphone. There's 2 microphones that are not this that are available every time that she comes in. And then she always sits here. I knew she did it. I didn't hear it. And no one told me about it. I knew she did it. I asked
I don't think
Hardy.
we talked about it on the air. I think I just cleaned it.
Hardy said that you talked about it on the air.
We definitely
Did we?
talked. Yes, we did.
Okay. Well, regardless, I pulled stuff out
and
of
it's
it.
always like my mic is so gross. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing
well, so
that's
is
so
that
gross?
One usually. I've also talked about that
Well, that's
one.
Zolak.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, but Zolak's gross. You're saying I'm gross? Do you think I'm gross?
I'm saying that microphone is gross.
No, in all honesty, do you think I'm unclean?
Actually, I'm going to call out Hardy. I didn't talk crap about you. Hardy talked about how you spit your overnight oats on that thing, not me.
No.
I didn't even bring it up.
Hardy's problem is me eating around him, which I will stop doing. But here's the thing, is because he doesn't like when people eat around him. Do you think I'm unclean? Do you look at me and think I'm unclean?
No.
Not anymore.
Ooh, drag him.
I don't care about Dan's opinion. You're a girl. I want to know what girls think. Do you think I'm gross?
No, but I do think that microphone is gross.
Then why do you sit here?
Because I
You know what
literally-
breaks my heart every time I hear that you did that?
I'll hug you before I leave. I'm sorry.
Well, I think
I'm not sure if I give my consent. Well,
Okay.
I'll have to think
this
about
is a
it.
consensual household.
It really is. All right. Thank you, Kendra. How do
Thank
people
you.
get in touch with you? I'm chasing you on Instagram for followers.
You can follow me on Blue Sky and Instagram at Kendra Middleton. I do give out my picks for a subscription for $1 just so I can keep track of my haters on Instagram. And you can follow me at Kenny Middleton with an I on the Twitter platform.
You know he really legit wants to get more followers than you.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. Well, I remember the first time I came in here, he made fun of me for having more followers than me, and now that's not the case.
Yeah. So at Fred Toucher to really stick it to
What's
Kendra.
that again?
At Fred Toucher.
How do you spell the last name?
Not my real last name is Toettcher.
No. Don't do it.
This is Toucher. It's the
On
phonetic
Instagram?
spelling.
You're about
on Instagram.
You're about $4,000 behind.
Yeah,
Is
come
that
on,
right?
folks.
Yeah,
Fred needs this.
She's doing much better than me, but let's put it this way. I'm going to start showing skin.
Whoa!
I'm going to start showing skin.
At Fred Toucher.
I don't even do that.
Headed
I
into
didn't
a
say you
weekend.
did it.
Headed into a weekend. He's
You
showing
said it.
skin.
He's got to pull the Tyler Milliken.
No, I don't.
No.
Okay, let me ask
No.
you one last question before you leave. It's a Friday before Christmas.
Children. Do it for the children, Fred. The children.
This
love
was
the
said,
book.
we had Tyler Milliken in for a bit. This was said on the air. Tyler Milliken said, everyone says I look, not that he looks like my son Milo, which he does not. You can look at my son Milo at Fred Toucher. My son's 6'3", good-looking kid.
He can dunk almost.
No, he can dunk. He dunked in the game. All right, so here's the deal. Do you think Tyler Milliken looks like he could be my son?
No.
Kilometers.
Thank you. If you would have said yes, I would have. It would have really ruined me.
Now he's going to give you consent for the hug. Before
You have
not
my
a chance.
you have my
Now
consent. You
you're
have my
fine.
consent
I
to
don't
touch
think
me.
that outside of the fact that you're both white, no resemblance. Yeah.
That was the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
See, I'm back, baby. Bada boom, bada bing.
I love you, Kendra.
Tomorrow morning with Dan Lifshatz.
All
right?
the internet
I'm on
rumors are
tomorrow
true.
and Sunday. Me and
What
Mike
time
Dondero
tomorrow?
are on Sunday.
Oh, good. Have fun.
What time tomorrow?
7 to 9, and then I'm on 10 to 1:30 on Sunday.
With who?
He'll get. You know what to do with
Please make the
Dondero?
break longer. Please continue to ask questions.
You know what you should do,
Thank you.
Dondero. With Dondero, he loves to
Sorry.
be loose and
Adam.
funny. All right,
Sorry, Adam.
that'll do it. That'll
That's
do
a
it for
sharp break.
Kendra. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines. thinking, what could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
We went very late the last break. The Stack is brought to you by D'Angelo Grilled Sandwiches. Sink your teeth into steak royalty. D'Angelo's legendary number 9 grilled sandwich, tender, juicy sirloin, onions, peppers, and mushrooms grilled to perfection. Get yours today.
But we do have one thing we do every Friday, and we have just enough time to get it in, don't we, Adam?
Yes, we do. So, Dan, Fridays, Boston.com publishes their Boss 10 things to do in and around the city. And Hardy always asks me which of them I would do, with emphasis being put on what's free. Because, as I like to say, Dan, if it's free, it's for me, and I'll take 3.
Okay.
So I'm going to twist it around. I know you're going to Arizona this weekend, but I'm gonna mention an event that's happening this weekend, and I'll ask Fred and John to say if it's something that Dan Roach would attend.
Oh, Dan Roach would attend.
Yes.
So
Turning around this week.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be based on financial.
No, it wouldn't be no financial constraints. This is just to see what Dan would enjoy. So you speaking
I'm going
of,
to the Holiday Pops tomorrow.
jealous.
With my children.
We usually go, but with my children, we would go Christmas Eve day, the matinee, the best. Santa.
Oh, I'm not around
everyone
for that.
Caroling together.
But and
just
you know
to
who?
hear the music.
You
You
know
know what?
who-
Okay.
You know who's going?
Who?
Me, my kids, and my ex-wife.
Oh, nice.
All together, continuing the
Harmony.
tradition.
Yes.
Just when they first start playing that
I'm all
music,
for it, Fred. That's the right way
I'm
to
such
do
a
it.
good person.
feels it. And one of the bucket list highlights
is Stephanie.
was doing "Twas the Night Before Christmas" in front of the whole, doing it with the symphony. That was my
I did
highlight
that.
of my life.
I
Wasn't it
did
cool?
that. Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Well, you know
Yeah,
what?
it was cool.
You know what I'm doing tomorrow? It's something very festive as well. It's actually I'm playing the Charlie Brown Christmas music right now. This music is being performed live tomorrow as a benefit for the Musery, which is a music industry instrument lending library, and that's happening at the
that's awesome.
Community House in Hamilton. Is that something you would be interested in going to?
Yeah.
I think we know the answer to that already.
That'd be cool.
No, he would never go to that in a
If it was
million
in
years.
Wenham, no. If it's in Hamilton, yes.
Oh, I see. So Hamilton only know Wenham.
Yes.
No. There's no way he would do that. That's not what he would do.
What?
No, that's not the kind of event he would like. He doesn't want to watch music. I know what Dan would want to go to. Go ahead.
So you think Dan is a no on that? Okay, well,
no,
let's see.
Dan wouldn't go to that.
Okay.
Dan's lying to you. Go
How about
ahead.
this? Grab cheap tickets to a holiday classic. 2 Boston-based philanthropists are giving theater lovers the chance to see the Commonwealth Shakespeare Company's production of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol for just $25.
No way.
Not a chance.
He would see a production of something. When you get to it all, no. There's no way you would go to that Shakespeare thing.
No.
Guys and dolls. that's
a
Dan.
no
That's
for
good
Dan?
Danny.
Okay.
No,
I heard Shakespeare.
I know exactly. I'll know it when I hear it. It's like pornography. I'll know when I hear it. Go
Well,
ahead.
if you ever thought you were too old for Lego, think again. Boston's Lego Discovery Center is hosting an ugly sweater adult night
No.
filled with holiday-themed building competition.
Yeah, in adult
Wednesday.
night, it is a swinger affair, I've been told. It's an adult night. No, he would not go to that. All right.
Okay, I've got one more.
Yeah.
You're right, Fred.
If your sweet tooth and an Instagram influencer had a baby, you'd get the Museum of Ice Cream. After 2 years of construction and design, this new museum is in the Seaport is set to open December 14th. That's tomorrow. Suites and photo ops are endless. Dan, are you in?
No, he would not go to that.
No scoop
he
for
would
Dan?
not, no, he might be forced to go there if they needed a general assignment guy to go out and cover something stupid.
Levin Reed was there this morning.
I know he was.
Levin
I saw
live.
that. I know.
I love Levin. They're making him do a lot of stupid crap.
I know.
If you were to mention something that was like you drive through the zoo and there's like lights, if you were to
Zoo
mention
lights.
something that there's something in a town where the neighborhood lights up everything.
Oh, that's North Attleboro.
In Tewksbury?
Yes.
That's what Dan would do.
I know right what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know,
and I'm not-
the Gillette Stadium, too.
Well,
across
that's-
the street.
I'm not even pimping something that's a sponsor, but that thing in Charlestown with the whole Christmas immersive thing, he would do that.
Oh, yeah. You know what's sad, Fred, is you know me too well.
Yeah, I know what he would do.
Safe travels, Danny.
And
Enjoy
if you
yourself.
said
I'm going to watch Elf.
if you said they were doing a Charlie Brown Christmas, like at the Symphony Hall, he would do that.
With the mascots.
He would do that.
Right?
The
All right.
Nutcracker
If
Man.
I'm not going to see you
No, the
before
Charlie Brown one.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to see you before Christmas. I don't
Merry
think.
Christmas to you and yours, Freddie.
Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas,
Danny.
Johnny. Happy Hanukkah. Everything
Thank
else you
Nah,
do.
it's just Christmas.
Yeah, good
You're
luck in the
good.
Dominican.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We love
Adam, everybody.
We
Ryan,
love
thank
we,
you.
we love
Nick?
love when you come in. Dan does a fantastic job. We
I'm
will
in
be
next Friday with Hardy.
I know that should be fun.
Scary, no, because Hardy doesn't like me ever since golf.
Well,
But
Kendra's
I'm gonna
doing
go off on
headlines. Kendra's doing headlines.
Oh,
and
good.
the two of them butt heads.
All right.
All right. That'll what John? Anything? No.
No,
That, all right. That'll do
What
it
are you
for
watching
us.
Channel 4 Sunday, 11:30
Yes.
game day, 4:25 Patriots in Arizona, and then on TV 38 our fifth quarter post game show.
There you go.
Of course, I always forget to do that. WBZ Television. That's the place to watch all the pre and post game Patriots Sunday. That'll do it for us.